Cool Figure TV. Revolutionary salute. Revolutionary salute. Like, share, subscribe. Welcome to the House of Revolution. You know I'm your humble host, the Yao Ming of Revolution. Revolution is the way of life. Revolution is for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I got some revolutionary dinner for y'all. Black people have superpowers. Aliens looking like Black Americans. Before we get into that, be sure to wipe y'all feet. That means hit the like button. You in the House of Revolution. Like, share, subscribe, support the platform. Y'all salute, family. Well, we got this good late night revolutionary dinner for y'all. Let's get into the content. Salute.
I don't mean to say this like to be disrespectful, and maybe this is, some people are going to think this sounds dumb, but I feel like there's a deeper reason why, you know, people of color and specifically the Black community have been relentlessly persecuted. Like, I mean, just the things that happened during slavery alone, like, were insane. But I don't know, the more I learn about Black history and the ways that, you know, people who literally worked in the government, like the CIA, all these different people in power were trying to ruin the Black community. And it makes me think, dude, I feel like, is there something more going on here than just racism? Because it's like, come on, you're telling me you're doing all of this stuff just because you don't like someone's skin color? I feel like, what if, I have this theory that, like, what if Black people have some type of superpower? Like, what if they have, I don't know, if they're just born with something very valuable that we don't really know about, but maybe, you know, like I said, these people, these rich people and these people in power, maybe they figured it out a long time ago, and maybe that's why they were like, oh, we have to like get rid of them, blah blah blah. I don't know, I feel like maybe they have something special that we are not taught about that is linked to them being people of color, you know. And I've seen some Black creators come on here and try to explain how special it is to have melanin in your skin and how it has all these different properties. But I don't know, I just feel like I have this theory that this goes so much deeper than maybe a lot of us realize, because I'm sorry, but I don't think you're going to go out of your way for all these hundreds and hundreds of years to try to ruin one group of people over something as silly as, oh, their skin is a different color. Like, I feel like there's something that we don't know. I'm telling you, there's something special about them that they don't want us to know. Okay, this is just something that I've been thinking about recently, and I'm like, maybe if there are some Black creators that maybe they already made a video and I just didn't see it, I don't know, but like, I don't know, maybe this sounds dumb. Or maybe this is like, yeah, no shit, Sherlock, but you know, it's just something I was thinking about.
Welcome to Rich Planet TV. I'm Richard D. Hall. Today I am going to be talking about the work of Nigel Kerner. Now, Nigel authored his first book in 1997 entitled The Song of the Greys. He wrote another book in 2010 entitled Grey Aliens and the Harvesting of Souls. Now, to discuss these books, I'm joined today by two of Nigel's researchers, Danielle Silverman. Welcome, Danielle.
Thank you.
And Professor John Biggerstaff. Welcome, John.
Hello, Richard. Given this scenario and what Nigel hypothesizes is that really in the same way that I mess with organisms on plates, that these guys were messing with us as a species, really looking for advantageous genetics. They only care about whether they can mess with our genes more efficiently. And it turns out that the molecule melanin, actually, you know, when we mess with genetics and stuff, one of the ways in which we can do it is to use things like ultraviolet light to actually splice the genes in the cells and actually alter the genetics, or to get things to, you know, things we've put in to actually take, so that we can almost microsurgically implant them in the cells. The thing is, if these cells have got a lot of melanin in them, it's a dark pigment, it tends to absorb that light and diffract it and turn it into vibrations, etc. And then the light just doesn't get where it's really supposed to go. And faster if deliberately put in there.
Right.
But there is a special, do you want to explain the special about melanin and how it protects the cell, the DNA inside the nucleus? That's very important.
Part of the reason you can't.
Revolutionary salute to our brother Garrett Marshall for the donation to the war chest. Revolution is a way of life. Absolutely appreciate the love, family. Salute.
Do these experiments, you know, where there's a lot of melanin around. The melanin actually in a lot of people in In black people, it's actually spread out through the skin. It spreads out through the cells and covers everything from the actions of the ultraviolet
there's no
light.
doubt in people with higher melanin, natural higher melanin, that it's far more likely that that melanin will be coating the nucleus, the cell wall of the nucleus of the DNA. Now, the point about that is that ultraviolet light, which is often used to splice DNA, is blocked by that melanin. It absorbs it. It doesn't allow it in to interfere with the DNA. And it could well be, and this is Nigel's thesis, that this was a blocker for them when they were trying to genetically alter the species. And therefore, when maybe just out of random mutation, something like an albino came along, they discovered, wow, we can get straight in.
Right.
And it may well be that the paler skinned nation, people on the earth, maybe have that pale skin because of this genetic experimentation to make things easier for them to work on human DNA. And in fact, Professor Steve Jones argues that this thing about vitamin D being, pale skin being there to allow vitamin D to be absorbed and so on, all these theories about why pale skin happened in the first place, he believes it's not an adequate explanation. There is no real explanation or justification for the need for pale skin at all.
Yeah, because I think if
dark skin is always an advantage in every circumstance.
As most people would just automatically assume, well, they went to live in the north where there's less sun, so therefore their skin changed color. But that's not the case.
According to Professor Steve Jones, an eminent professor of biology, that is absolute nonsense.
Right. Okay.
There's just no reason at all for pale skin.
You would want to absorb more light, and I mean, why did we lose hair if we came to a colder climate, etc.
Yeah.
So obviously, something's wrong with that idea.
Right. All right. And Nigel contends that the white races, the northern European races, have probably had the most interference from this outside entity called the grey alien.
Yeah, and he doesn't say that. It's very important to say he doesn't say that from the point of view of a kind of reverse racism.
Right.
It's just he's letting us know that, right, that's there. You may need to do something about it, and maybe suggesting ways that we could do something about it. And if you look at the record of the European nations throughout history, in terms of colonialism, imperialism, and what the havoc they've wreaked on the world, makes the point
that
really.
It's the blue-eyed white races that have got their finger on the nuclear. Well, I mean, what about China? Because he mentions the Chinese as well, doesn't he? He says that they've had significant intervention. Am I right there?
That's right. Yes, there's been interception all across the board. They found ways of doing it, but the most efficient way to do it is on cell nucleuses that aren't protected by the melanin shield. That's just the most efficient, easiest way to do it.
Melanin, but it's also in your nervous system, which causes you to transmit information faster and to store more information than any other race. Melanin is also in your eyes that cause you to absorb more color than any other race. And of course, it's in your ears, and you absorb more sound. So you will see colors differently than anybody else, and you will hear differently. So therefore, your music will always be different. You always put together colors differently. Melanin is in your taste buds, which cause you to have the ability to taste the full flavor of the food. You absorb more taste. So you always combine your food differently, and you eat somebody else's food and say that's bland or whatever you want to say. You know what I'm saying? It's what we call the biochemical marker of life. The more melanin you have, the more civilized you are. The more melanin you have, the more psychic you are. I'm saying the more melanin you have, the more human you are.
You are living in a higher frequency. You are passing the laws of physics. The laws of physics tells you that you can't fly. That's a law of physics. You get what I'm saying? That comes from physics. We are beyond physics. We are quantum physics, metaphysics, and beyond. You get what I'm saying? The law of physics tells you can't run through a wall. That's physics. But if you go a step deeper, which is quantum physics, it's going to show you that's very much possible. And metaphysics is going to show you it's more than possible. See, understand science, man. Understand this shit. A lot of us don't even know nothing past physics. So you thinking like, what do you mean we're going supernova? Yes, I said it. You're going supernova. Your body, if you are a carbonated being, if you have carbon in your skin, all right? And I see a couple of guys and goddesses be saying, Melanin, look, please, y'all, kick the information. But catch this download. Stop saying melanin. This is not melanin, family. This is carbon. Melanin is not the basis on which all life is formed. Google it. It's not going to say that. But carbon is. So what you think is more stronger, carbon or melanin? Carbon, nigga. Everything in this physical realm, on this realm, comes from carbon. Right? Right. So at the end of the day, understand that Caucasians, Asians, Dravidians, Arabs, Mexicans, they have melanin. Okay? This is why they catch melanomas when they stand in the sun. If you have carbon in your skin, you don't catch melanomas when you get in this sun. They got to send this shit all day. You ain't gonna see a melanin come on me. I'm gonna glow brighter. I'm gonna get strong. I'm gonna get wiser. You know why? Because every 8 minutes you stand in the sun, you get a download. A download to your DNA. Did you know that? Yes, you do. Every 8 minutes, you stand in the sunlight, direct sunlight, your DNA receives a download from the cosmos. That's why they don't want you in no goddamn sun, family. You been thought of some shit you don't know how I know this shit. Downloads. This is why they are called downloads. This is what they were showing you in the Matrix. You really download program. You download this shit to you. It's already in you. You just gotta download it. Pete, you don't have to go get it. Download to download something, that means you already got it. You just gotta hit download to open it up. Open the file. Open the file, nigga. Like on you, open the file. You know what I'm saying? You gotta open the file, nigga. You know what I'm saying? It's a download, family.
The DNA passes down from your father. That's why the Bible said the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The bloodline comes from your daddy. So the seed will come from me. All the seeds, all the bloodline comes from the father. So the DNA that's passed all the way back to the original man came through my father's side. Now, this is what I want to show y'all, because this is where Steve did a DNA test, which he would have my DNA. You got what I'm saying? Now, if you, I know it's kind of small, it's hard for y'all to see it, but basically, this is what the DNA tells us when African Americans do the DNA swab and find out what our DNA test is. It says that 80% Africa. Now, if you look at the map, it's saying where we come from, which is right in where Nigeria is, right where Nigeria and Ghana and Congo, right on that horn of Africa, right on that curve, which is accurate. It's actually accurate. Now I'm gonna show y'all why they say we were Africans, because you know this is where you got to really put your thinking on right here. They said we were Africans. So now listen, your DNA is gonna go back to a people group that was from that area. So that means if your people was in this area for any length of time, your DNA is gonna go back there. And the problem is the DNA of the African American doesn't really fit in Africa. But it goes back to Africa because that's the only place that they saw us at was in Africa. Because we were in Africa at one time. Because remember I said in 70 AD, we fled from Jerusalem.
Shalom, fam. So it's true. Everything that's being said about so-called blacks in regards to us having superpowers, yes, we do have superpowers, y'all. And it's on different levels. But you have to understand where that superpower comes from, because it's not just from yourself. You don't pull it from yourself, because we have to remember who we come from. We come from the Most High, Almighty Yahweh. Our forefathers is Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And the Most High, he said in his word that we were fearfully and wonderfully made. So with that being said, we were created in the image of the Most High, and we know alone that we are powerful. Just being the chosen children of Israel, which separates us. We can't so much focus on melanin and even carbon, because we are made up of carbon. We do have melanin in our bodies, but we can't just solely pinpoint that's where our superpower come from. No, that's one of the gifts that the Most High gave us. That's a direct connection to our superpowers. Being able to be in the sun, absorb the sun, it makes us stronger. It heals our bodies. And it's so true. Esau blocks out the sun because he understands it makes us stronger. It heals our body. But on a spiritual aspect, what I want to tap into, the spiritual aspect of our superpowers and how you can strengthen your superpowers, tapping into these precepts and understanding where it's coming from. Because your superpower is directly connected to faith, which is directly connected to the Most High. We have to understand that. Don't dabble and try to tap in to the left side. I know y'all hear about the 9 ether and, the chakra and all this other stuff. But we have to understand that we're spiritual beings before we are fleshly beings. So let me bring out a couple of precepts. So this is Acts 1:8, and this is Yahushua speaking, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Listen to what he said. But ye shall receive power. After that, the Holy Ghost is come upon you. And ye shall be witnesses unto me both in Jerusalem and in all Judea and Samaria and unto the uttermost parts of the earth. Verse 9. And when he had spoken these things, while they beheld, he was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight. So he's talking to the apostles. He's talking to our forefathers. Yahushua is telling our forefathers that they will receive power, Holy Spirit, come upon them. So if we are who our fathers are, and we can clearly see in the scriptures how the Most High created us, designed us, chose us as his holy children, if they have powers, superpowers, power, then we also have it, family. That's just on a spiritual level. Just like the scriptures tell us in the last days, it say the weakest among you shall be like David. We know David used to play with the lions. That's how strong he was. So we have to understand that. But on many different levels, do we have superpowers? It's just not strength or mind. You heard him say we're the smartest, we're the fastest, or we can think faster than any other nationality. But we can go back to Deuteronomy 7:6, for thou art a holy people. That's a special people. That means the Most High, he designed us specially designed us in the image of him, in the flesh form. It said, thou art a special people unto the Lord thy God, and the Lord thy God has chosen you to himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth. So with that being said, we have to understand who we are. It's deeper than just our skin color, y'all. It's deeper than just our skin color. Because at the end of the day, so-called Africans also got brown skin, but they're not the chosen people of the
Revolutionary salute to our Queen. Balance for the donation to the war chest. Revolution is real life. Absolutely appreciate the love, Queen. Salute to you. Help me keep the lights on. Here the House Revolution. Salute.
Most High. Israelites are the so-called blacks. You have to tap into your faith and increase your faith. That's your superpower, your faith. And we know that faith is the beginning of cleaving unto the Most High. When you get that direct connection and that direct relationship with the Most High, there is nothing that you cannot ask for spiritually on the righteous side and it not be granted unto you. You have to have the faith, though. This is Mark 11:23. It say, for verily I say unto you, that whosoever shall say unto this mountain, be thou removed, and be thou cast into the sea, and shall not doubt in his heart, but shall believe, but those things which he saith shall come to pass, he shall have whatsoever he saith. You can't tell me that's not a superpower. You cannot tell me that's not a superpower. Your superpower, you so-called black folks, your superpower is directly connected to your faith that's cleaving to the Most High, because you have to understand where it's coming from. It's not yourself. And on the left-hand side, we got our brothers and sisters tapping on the left side with witchcraft and them praying and pulling on different deities to get things to happen and manifest things on the left side, but how much greater on the right side, where we understand where the power comes from. We understand that our faith is directly linked to the Most High, and he's granting the things that we request. That's a superpower. And I want to leave you with these last two precepts. This is John chapter 2, verse 7 through 10. It says, and Yahushua, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus, said unto them, fill the water pots with water. And they filled them up to the brim. And he said unto them, draw out now and bear unto the governor of the feast. And they bared it. Verse 9, when the ruler of the feast had tasted the water that was made wine, and knew not whence it was, but the servants which drew the water knew, the governor of the feast called the bridegroom. Verse 10, and said unto him, every man at the beginning doeth set forth good wine, and when men have well drunk, then that which is worse, but thou hast kept the good wine until now. So when Yahushua turned a bucket of water into wine, That was a superpower, y'all. Was that not a superpower? What we call it in modern day, today's term, a miracle, it's a superpower and is directly linked to faith, which is directly linked to the Most High. That's why I say, if you ask anything in my name and you believe it by faith, ye shall receive it. Whenever y'all ready to tap in, and I got one more precept. This Philippians 2:5. And this is Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus again. Listen to what he's telling you. Let this mind be in you, which was also in Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. So the mind that was in Yahweh Shai, we supposed to have that same mind into us. How you think you're going to tap into your superpowers? This is just the spiritual side. The physical side, like I said, we know that the Most High said the world was made for our sake. So yes, we are one with the earth. Yes, we are one with the sun. That's why we can sit in the sun and become magnificent, stronger, heal, don't get cancer, right? But Europeans cannot. So whenever y'all ready to tap into y'all faith and up and strengthen y'all superpower, go ahead and tap in, but don't get it twisted. Yes, we are a special people. And it's not just our color alone that makes us this way. It's the fact that we are the children of Israel. It's the fact that we were chosen by the Most High. And obedience is what's going to strengthen your superpower, which is your faith. With that being said, acknowledge your sins, repent of your sins, return back to the Most
Why is NASA saying that the aliens are African American and they are 7 feet tall? Okay. I mean, come on. I want to see some pictures. Okay. I want to see some real evidence of these aliens.
Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. It's your person here. That's me. And listen, haven't been feeling too great lately, but we are getting better slowly but surely. Now let's get into this. So apparently, allegedly, aliens are coming to America this November. And here's the crazy part. They're said to resemble Black Americans. Yep, you heard that right. The word on the street is that these so-called beings are like 7 feet tall and got features that oddly resembles, Black people. I mean, how do they even know that? Where is this upper specific info coming from? So personally, every time I hear people talk about aliens, I already know what they are really hinting at. There's no such a thing as, aliens, okay? They are trying to make demons sound so cool, like some Marvel movie characters or intergalactic, peacekeeper or whatever. But I don't get it. Why can't they just call them for what they are, okay? So from what I've gathered, these beings are supposed to start appearing in the US sometimes between late October, beginning of November, or late December. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not here to, fearmonger or get anybody panicking, but everybody is talking about this like right now. And honestly, if there's even a slight chance like this is real, I need to start thinking about how you'd even begin to adjust to living with something or someone like this, walking around. So let's get into it. I've put together some of the wildest reactions from TikTok, and you already know what people think about this. So make sure you drop your thoughts in the comment section down below. I'll come back at the end of this video to give my own 2 cents. Let's watch this.
I don't know if I'm hearing this right, but they talking about it's a motherfucking mothership headed to Earth with aliens that's 7 feet tall headed directly to this motherfucker. Nigga. They talking about the motherfucking ship that they pulling up in is 12 miles fucking long. These hoes gonna step off that in J's and do-rags. Bitch, holla at me. And all you thought ass hoes, y'all better stay away from them. They ain't got child support on another planet, bitch. But no bullshit now, so send them straight to my house, because they invited to the motherfucking cookout over here, because I gotta see this shit to believe it. Yeah, all of you asses is grass. I'm talking about these hoes coming in hot. They talking about they supposed to be here by November, just in time for Thanksgiving dinner. And all us motherfuckers down here in the South do not need to have their ass at the mother ride doing the boots on the mother round, because they tired of hearing that shit too. And then they talking about somebody got in contact with them, been in contact with these niggas. Who did this shit? Who? Who did it?
According to NASA, they just said the aliens that's supposed to come in here in November resemble African Americans. Allegedly. Hell no. And they said that they supposed to be 7 foot tall. Now fuck. If that's the case, we already know why they coming back here for. I just hope they ass don't be aggressive though. Yo, bro, you me, I'm you. Remember this summer, the Pentagon said that the Anunnaki would be back in the next 2 years. And then boom, now NASA saying they look like African Americans. It's a lot of truth that's gonna come out. There's a lot of truth that's been hidden about who we are as a people, what this planet is, where this shit come from, why I couldn't be 7 foot. What y'all niggas putting me, y'all stop my shit from being 7 foot. I could have went to the league, bitch. And apparently somebody got to be in communication with them, y'all. I just don't understand. How do you know when these people about to be aggressive? Y'all said they coming in 2 years. The fuck they book a vacation? Are y'all talking to them and they like, they own that or something? I don't know. How do y'all even, do they talk like this? I'm just saying somebody got to know their true purpose. Because how can you just randomly just say this, that they going to be aggressive? How do they know? Or what if they here already? Or what if they're in the Pentagon NASA?
Breaking news, y'all. Earth might be under alien invasion by November. Good. Because at this point, I'll take it. Beam me up, Zorg. I am ready. Because Earth is ghetto. The U.S. government got beef with its own citizens. Every day it's like no bodily autonomy, no safe schools, no affordable housing. Don't even ask about healthcare unless you're trying to pay with your soul. But hey, student loans are still due. Priorities. Meanwhile, Greg Abbott's out here fast writing laws like he's fast running a reboot of Handmaid's Tale. The SCOTUS? Baby, they flipping rights like pancakes. Y'all worried about aliens? Not me, baby. Them aliens might show up with advanced medicine, universal childcare, clean air, and clean water. The U.S. government shows up, baby, they bring in voter suppression and a new reason to arrest you for being poor, black, queer, or breathing. Honestly, if aliens were to come down here and say, take me to your leader, we might have to send them back. Because it's either take him and do what you will, or take us, I'm ready. I ain't scared of no extraterrestrials, baby. I'm scared of infrastructure. I'm scared of men in Congress who ain't ever seen a uterus sitting up there making laws about mine. I'm scared of a country that funds wars before they fund baby formula. So listen, if that spaceship got AC and dental, baby, I'm packed. Ready to go.
Scientists are now saying that there might be a possible alien invasion in November of 2025, the latest December of 2025. Now let's talk about it because this is crazy. So scientists have spotted this huge, massive mothership object in our solar system that's literally coming directly towards Earth. And this professor that studies at Harvard and his team basically believes that it's some type of extraterrestrials or some type of people from out of this world, which is aliens. He believed that they will be very hostile. Now, this ship or whatever it is coming at a very fast rate, like over 130,000 miles per hour. And they said it is believed to be the size of Manhattan. Now, I know every other year we hear some type of UFO or some type of extraterrestrial story. And, you know, there's several theories out there. And some people believe that this is some type of comet called the 31 Atlas comet or something like that. But some scientists are claiming that this might not be a comet at all. That this is coming from some type of alien origin, and it will be here around November or early December. Now, I'm not trying to fearmonger anybody, but this is stuff that we need to know. Just in case, because I mean, they literally have came out with press conferences talking about how there's different flying saucers, UAPs, also known as UFOs, in our oceans. They've talked to us about it, and somehow it's not pushed out there in the press as much as it should be. So why not, when stuff like this come out, it's not in the press like that? Like, we see a few TikToks about it, but that's it. We don't ever see it on the news. I guess they don't try to put fear in us. But if this is something that could be, you know, going on, we should be preparing, well, as much as we can prepare, because we don't know what type of technology they have, and they're clearly more advanced than us. But yeah, let me know what y'all think in the comments. Do y'all think it's just this comet that's, you know, gonna shoot right past Earth, or do y'all think it might be something else? Let me know what y'all think.
So now apparently scientists are saying that there is an alien mothership going to hit Earth in November 2025. You guys have heard me right. This is not a Stranger Things episode. This is not a Black Mirror episode. This is our reality. And y'all wonder why I tell you that on the television, they put things in plain sight and try to fictionalize it. The whole time, in a couple years, they're planning for our reality to be just like the Black Mirror episode. But then they label everybody who's awake to this as a conspiracy theorist and, oh, they're kooky, overthinking it. What are you on? Now we all about to be on the same thing. because there's an alien mothership coming in 2025. Can you guys ask yourself, why in the world, after telling us for our whole lives that ET phone home doesn't exist and UFOs are not real, there is no alien civilizations, there is nothing under the ocean, now all of a sudden there's no more NDAs, they telling us all the information, they're giving us all the tea unprovoked? Like, come on. They're finding cities under the pyramids in Egypt. They are finding hieroglyphics on 30-foot tall giant monuments on Rapa Nui Island. Yes, you heard me right. Egyptian hieroglyphics on a monument on the other side of the world. They're now telling us that Stonehenge was made by an ancient civilization. Navy is confirming that they have seen aliens, or at least a strange presence in the ocean. You have people like Sauce 90 that are exposing the fact that sirens, in fact, do exist. Now, to put the cherry on top, there is an alien mothership coming to Earth in 2025. Let's not even talk about the 21 trillion taxpayer dollars that have gone into building underground cities for the elite to escape a global catastrophe. The rich are building bunkers. Guys, come on. If you don't see that they are preparing us, if y'all don't learn at this point to question everything, and if y'all don't learn at this point to think for yourself, I don't know what's going to convince you. I really don't. Because everything that they tell you doesn't exist, and everything they tell you is stupid and conspiracy. I promise you, 10 to 20 years later, they're going to come out and say, oh, wait, that was real. Just kidding. But at this point, you won't know what to believe, because during those 10 to 20 years of them telling you it was fake, they were also programming you through media to make you think that all of the nonfiction things were actually fiction. That mixed with AI advancements to where no one actually knows what's real and what's fake, they will be telling you to your face that these things exist and you still won't believe them. That is until the Great Illusion. If you don't know what the Great Illusion is, 3 words: Project Blue Beam. Okay, if y'all want a video on Project Blue Beam, I will gladly do one, because it will open your eyes in a way that you will never be able to close them again. Anyway, y'all, as always, make sure you like, follow, and comment down below what you think. Yeah, TikTok, this is for entertainment purposes only. None of it's true.
So I get on this app, I'm trying to enjoy my vacation, and I hear that NASA confirmed aliens is coming in November. Say what? Not only that they supposed to be 7 feet tall, look like African Americans. Huh? And they supposed to be here by November of this year? My question is, how y'all know what they look like? How you know how tall they are? How you know they're going to be here by November? Did you call them? Say what time y'all coming? Y'all bringing the chicken and plantains? Y'all bringing the food, barbecue, or something? I'm confused. NASA, somebody lying. And they say they're supposed to be a little hostile. Hostile? Now, what makes them hostile? Because they black. I'm just confused. Like, I got on the app and I see articles, I see all these videos. I'm like, hold on. This gotta be fake. So what that mean for us, African Americans? I'm 5'1". I ain't 7 foot, but what that mean for us? Cause it's already people that don't like us here on America. So that they hear people that look like us coming, being hostile. What that mean for us here? So,
Look, they almost had me with this one too. But no, there is no credible evidence or official NASA statements claiming that aliens are on a mega asteroid that resemble African Americans. Look, you almost had me with this. I kept seeing videos saying that some scientists said that the aliens that are on that asteroid resemble black people. Come on now, right? Come on. I had to look it up. This shit is hilarious. But look, they gonna keep running plays on us, right? You got to think about it. They're going to keep running plays on us. It's going to be a new play every day. It's going to be a new play on American people every single day. I promise you. This is just another one. A viral social media claim suggests a former NASA scientist said that there were 7 foot tall, dark-skinned aliens resembling African Americans. However, there is no known NASA publication or press release supporting this. This post cites no official NASA sources, mission, or peer-reviewed evidence. No credible news organization or NASA press statement has corroborated such claims. They running a play. It's funny, and y'all almost had me, I swear to God, because it's about 100 videos out there right now. I'm like, man, it ain't no way. Damn aliens, man, come on. So, in summary, no NASA document or statements claim humanoid aliens exist on any asteroid. All right. It would be dope if they came down here and they looked like us, right? I mean, look, if you really think about it, look, space is made of carbon. Carbon is melanin, right? So they gonna be black. I don't know if they're gonna be this kind of black, but they gonna be black. You get what I'm saying?
What the hell is going on this planet? So according to NASA, the aliens that's supposed to be coming here in November have a strong resemblance to us. The aggressive aliens that's on their way to Earth that's supposed to get here in November resemble African American people. And they're saying they're around 7 feet tall. And if that's the case, we already know why they're aggressive. We already know what they're coming back here for. Earlier this summer, the Pentagon said that the Anunnaki will be back here in the next 2 years. And now NASA, of course, again, NASA is saying that the aliens that are coming here this November look like African Americans. You do the math. The truth of the matter is the truth has been hidden for way too long about what this planet is, where this planet came from, who we are as a people. And apparently those interstellar beings that's coming here are coming here for a reason. And apparently someone's spoken to them. Someone is keeping contact with them. Someone knows their true purpose, because you can't randomly just say that they're aggressive and they're coming here aggressively if you haven't spoken to them or if they're not here already. Welcome to 2025. I want to see what's next. I'm out.
If you hear this before November, consider yourself warned. NASA says aliens are coming in November and they're 7 foot tall, aggressive, and they look like African Americans. Before you say this is just some weird conspiracy or something off of Reddit, this was covered by CBS News and actually talked about by Harvard scientists. They thought it was a comet, the 3-eye atlas they were calling it, but now they think it's an alien ship that was disguised. NASA ain't denying nothing. I feel like there's so much to digest with this. Some people are saying it might be the Anunnaki returning. Some people are saying it might be even us from the future. NASA ain't denying nothing. If they look like us, are they our descendants? Are we the aliens here? Have they been here the whole time just watching? Drop your theories in the comments now. Don't be scared. I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying we're supposed to ask questions. Like I said, if you already see this before November, you're ahead of 90% of the world. So ask yourself a question. It's not why they're here now. It's what we did to make them appear.
So, all right, guys. So now that we've seen, what people on TikTok are saying, let's be real, these reactions were wild. Let's talk about this for a second, because I've been digging into this a little bit more, since putting this video together, and here is what just came out. So it turns out that it's not NASA that originally said anything about aliens possibly arriving in America later this year. It's actually some scientists from Harvard University who have been putting this theory out there. Yep, Harvard, not some random people in their basement, but actual Ivy League researchers talking about the possibility of extraterrestrial life either visiting Earth or already having made contact in some weird way. And according to the information floating around, they are the ones suggesting that these beings might be showing up somewhere between November and December. NASA, on the other hand, is playing it cool, saying that nope, it was just it's not it wasn't a spaceship, it wasn't aliens, it was just a rock. It wasn't a spaceship that everyone is talking about. Yeah, so it was just a stone that somehow ended up flying through space. I don't know what to make out of this. So now we've got Harvard scientists saying one thing and NASA completely downplaying the whole thing, acting like it's nothing but space debris. I don't know about you, but that kind of contradiction is exactly why I never fully trust what any of these official sources are saying. One side is out here dropping a detailed description about 7-foot beings that allegedly resemble Black Americans, while the other is telling us that we're getting waked up over a space pebble. Like, make it make sense. And what gets me is how fast they try to brush stuff like this off, as if we're not, paying any attention. I mean, spiritually, we're sensing that something is wrong. And if something was going to appear on this earth, it's definitely not aliens, okay? But, a lot of us can feel that something deeper might be going on. I know you feel this. There's just something that is happening in the spiritual, the things that we cannot see with our 2 eyes. That's why I always say, use your own discernment. I'm not here to tell anyone to believe this. I'm just, connecting the dots based on information that's available online. And what I personally observe when I look around and see how the media shapes these narratives. It's up to you to decide what you want to believe. But at the end of the day, don't let these official titles fool you. Whether it's NASA, Harvard, the government, or your favorite celebrity talking about, disclosure, you never really know who to believe when it comes to stuff like this. And because of that, I just don't want to be very clear on this. Like, this is not the, what can I say? For lack of better terms, this is not based on true information. This video is not based on any hard scientific proof or classified intel. Now, it's based on the information I've gathered online from people talking about it, from trending videos, and people, piecing together theories that are being shared right now. That's it. So please don't take this video as facts. It's not meant to, it's not meant for that. This is simply for entertainment purposes only. Okay. If we're just here, to have this conversation, asking what ifs and talking about what could be going on behind the scenes. Now, with that being said, I do think there's a value in at least talking about this, because even if it turns out to be nothing, conversations like this force us to stay alert, to question things, and to realize that we're not always being told the full truth. And if there's something bigger coming, whether it's aliens, a shift in consciousness, or just another wild headline, you've already heard it, here. People have spoken about it, people are talking about it, and you would have time to think about how you would respond, right? So before I let you go, I really want to hear thoughts on this. What do you guys think about this, the entire situation? Do you believe
Houston, we have a problem.
The world is searching for the truth. Who are the biblical Israelites? From mysterious comets to whispers of ancient sacrifices, history unfolds amidst chaos. In 700 BC, the Lachish relief immortalized the tribe of Judah, capturing essence in high-definition detail. For centuries, Israel's identity has been hidden, but now the truth can finally be unveiled. Click the link below to get it today. Do you want a short booklet to send to your family and friends to prove you're not crazy? Well, this is it. The undeniable, unforgettable, ancient pictures of Judah for all to see. So, pick up your copy of Who Are the Biblical Israelites today from Amazon and share the truth.
Revolutionary salute to our Queen Balance for the donation to the war chest. Revolution is a way of life. Absolutely appreciate the love, Queen. Help me keep the lights on here at the House of Revolution. Salute.
One booklet at a time.
got aliens before GTA 6. This shit crazy. Woo! We still gotta pay rent though.
They hear y'all. Where them Epstein files at though?
We took y'all out of Africa. 400 years. Who the fuck is Jim Crow? Blow everything up right now.
Wouldn't that be great if aliens came to this planet and they were black? And they got here and they were like, yo, we so happy we found this planet because we left all these black people here. Came to get them. Bring them back home to their home planet. Planet black. But you pronounced it black. They would take a census of all the black people in this region of the world. All the black people over here be like, yeah, we want to go back home to the planet black. Go to Africa and talk to the Africans, and the Africans are like, come on, I see it. We are going to come as well. Yeah, we are coming with you. 2 days later, a ship 3 times the size of North America shows up. Nothing on TV for 2 weeks straight to black people. Rolling up transporters with their suitcases, partying. We leaving. Y'all can't come. And that last black guy. No more black people on the planet. Fat white girls be crying. Oh, no, get off of me! Deontay! Today in sports, the New York Knicks beat the Boston Celtics 15-13 in an overtime no-hitter. And in tragic sporting news, there will be no NFL.
Dear African American aliens, we come in peace. I know it may not seem like it considering the state of the world right now, but you just gotta trust me on that. And look, I didn't name you African American aliens. That was somebody else. I wouldn't just judge you off top like that. So just remember, if there's any anger or aggression, make sure it's directed towards the right people. And actually, I just overheard them people at the student loan offices talking shit about y'all. So just remember where to aim first. And then if it's not too much to ask, I just need y'all to zap a few mother for me, just a few. And for your troubles, we can hook you up with some good old fried chicken and some of the best earth watermelon you'll probably ever have. Y'all ever heard of a cookout? Just by y'all description, y'all already invited. Just bring some plates. And look, I know y'all existence might not even be real and this whole thing might be fake, but I ain't taking no chances on an alien invasion, especially when we can be on the same side.
That's I'm sorry. But NASA better get the off. Like it's never gonna be a time in history. I don't think it's ever gonna be a time in history where black people ain't gonna be blamed for something. Cause what the you mean the aliens is African American? Wait a minute, and then another thing. Why is they only coming to America? Well, like is they like traveling through different continents or like what's happening? Like African American. Because if they come here, I'm not scared. I feel like if they come here and they really African American, Baby, y'all need to be scared, not me.
I truly believe that they said that the aliens are African American so that they can start rounding us up when they do that AI switcheroo and show us aliens and came down here. They ain't gonna make me believe that no aliens came down here. It's gonna be AI, hologram, something like that. And they said that the aliens look African American, so you won't be able to tell the difference between an alien and African American. And people are just gonna use that as an excuse to start rounding us up because they're not gonna know which ones is the aliens and which ones is African Americans, real African Americans. Because why would it be specific to us? Nah, man, they trying to get us. They're trying to get us. They really want to be able to, they want any excuse. They making up supernatural excuses now, y'all, to be able to enact violence on us. I really do believe that. Because why would you say African American specifically? Don't that sound weird to y'all? Don't that feel suspicious to you? Why all of a sudden the aliens, they know what the aliens look like and they look like us? Specific to us.
A NASA scientist has claimed that he saw 7-foot-tall African-American aliens, and I'm going to use science, history, and a little bit of religion to explain to you why I think that is completely plausible. First things first, when you look at space travel, you don't want to have white skin. Look at the study that was done in Chernobyl with black fungi and black birds. What they were finding is that the animals with black skin or very, very dark skin, they were surviving and adapting to radiation a whole lot easier than other animals that didn't have that freaking dark skin or melanin. Look it up. See if I'm making that up. All right. So if you're going to do space travel and try to resist the radiation waves that you're going to be constantly hit with, because mind you, the Earth protects us from the radiation. If you're out there in space, you're going to be hit with that constantly. The further that you go. So you got to be as dark as possible. This is why usually when you hear about aliens, you don't usually hear about white ones. And the ones that you hear about that are supposedly white are usually coming from people who you don't trust in the first place. Okay. Most times you hear about reptilians, dark-skinned children, and gray aliens, but you never hear about white because it doesn't make sense for space travel. That's first thing. Second thing is, if you start to look into history, you might actually discover they've been here, and that the black people were the chosen people. How could we not have been? We were the first humans. If you look at the story in the Bible about the real reason why God flooded the earth with Noah's Ark, well, this part of the Bible was actually removed. It's called the apocryphal text. There's actually a story about how angels came down to earth, were sent by God to teach humanity and watch over them. Well, instead of doing that, the angels or the watchers, they decided to breed with the human women to make these giant people called the Nephilim. And they also taught us forbidden knowledge like geometry, root magic, you name it. And the leader of the watchers was an angel named Samyaza. And what did he teach? Root magic. African American, who's the only people who are known to use root magic. That'd be us. I'm just saying this. I want you to think about a lot of the hatred that is put towards black people. It's very, very common for, a child to rebel against his father.
Shalom, shalom. Peace and blessings, everybody. I know it's late. And yes, there is a thing out there, family, of African American aliens. If you haven't heard of it, it's running rampant on TikTok and probably some other social media platforms. I have seen it seep into YouTube as well. But yes, African American aliens. And it's funny because there's some truth mixed in there with with some lies, of course. One of the videos that they use to say that, to kind of support whatever they're saying is like a very old video. Like, I'm not sure if the people that are doing the TikToks and they have this clip in there, if they know that it's an old clip, but they're putting it in there saying the NASA scientist saying that he saw 7-foot aliens. That is an old video. That's an old claim. So it's nothing new, family. And the thing about it, because you have to keep in mind, family. So there is a lot going on in this fall season coming up. I mean, you have people, the Christian church is thinking that the rapture's coming. Rapture's going to happen. Was it September the 23rd to the 24th? You got the feast days of the Israelites coming up. You have this comet / mysterious object hurtling, towards our solar system, actually in our solar system, doing some strange stuff. What else? I know I'm missing something else, family, but just a lot of stuff, weird stuff going on. You got, of course, all the wars and stuff. The state of Israel talking about they're getting ready to start the war back up with Iran, which is checking all those prophetic boxes in in your Bible. So it's a lot of stuff going on, family. And then you add this on top of that, where there's I'm not even sure who started it, because I actually tried to track it down, family, to see what was the root, where did this thing come from? And it's really weird, because there doesn't seem to be a like a single report that came out. It just all of a sudden it mysteriously popped up on TikTok. A lot of people started posting about it. These black aliens coming out. They're supposed to be African American aliens, not Latino Americans, not Canadian Americans, right? African Americans, of all people. And then the thing was that they're supposed to be coming in November was the date. So, and again, it kind of, like I said, it coincides with that comet stuff, right? The comet is supposed to be, I think, the closest to the sun in November, that time frame. So it's like I said, family, a lot of weird stuff going on. And so you wonder, just like one of the people said that's in the video, is like, are they trying to use this as like a Project Blue Beam type thing, where they're going to use this incident to do some sort of illusions, right, and start using that to blame black folks for something and then round black folks up? Because as well as I do, family, they've been trying to round up or trying to galvanize and stir up black folks for at least about three months now. First, they had like the the DEI stuff, rolling back DEI, trying to roll back affirmative action, right? And then they started talking about what was that? Segregation. They're going to try to reintroduce segregation. Then they went into the museums and they started taking stuff out of the museums. Then they started going into the history books and started taking stuff out of the history books. I even read something, recently where you heard Donald Trump talking about, slavery. Well, slavery is bad. We don't need you all to talk about all that bad stuff about slavery is bad. We want to talk about the good stuff. So he's got his hands in our history again. There goes Donald Trump doing his thing, trying to stir up the black community, trying to get us out in the streets, trying to march. And of course, we saw the thing when ICE was going out and snatching folks up. And of course, they were trying to get us to come out there with them. It's like, oh, we're going to do this march, and surely our African brothers and sisters, African American brothers and sisters, will come out with us and march in the streets. And what did the African American community say as a whole? Nah, we're gonna sit this one out. And I believe that's the Most High's stirred in the black community, family, because we know that something is amiss, and we knew that as soon as a black person stepped foot out in those protests, that those protests would have changed. They would have found reason to start rounding folks up. And we know that the one person or people that would get rounded up are the black African Americans. Case in point, there was some sort of a rally or protest that was out there. And it was a handful of brown-skinned brothers and sisters that was out there, mainly sisters. And oh yeah, they started rounding people up. And you know who they rounded up? Yes, the brown-skinned sisters. And of course, they got it on, they heard the backlash on social media, saying that you should stay your blankety blank home instead of being out there. But in any case, family, this is just yet one, another one of those things, family, where there's something up, there's something up with this whole black African American alien. So there's supposed to be some aliens coming in November. Like I said, this is the rumor that's on TikTok, that are African American aliens. So to that end, family, like I said, I didn't want to keep you long. I know it's real late at the time of the posting of this video. So just want to do something real quick. So to that end, family, I do want to kind of shed some light as to what has actually happened. What did the person who's talking about these black aliens actually say, right? And he's, like I said, again, he said this a long time ago. And so, yes, he did say it happened a long time ago. Is an elderly gentleman. And he's talking about how this was based off of government eyewitness account, black folks, somebody said AT aliens. I actually have a clip about AT aliens that I don't want to play it because there was all kind of copyright issues that came up when I uploaded it, just as a test. So yeah, I was right there with you. So anyway, but let me play this clip. Well, first of all, let me play this clip. This clip here, fam. Hang on, let me show you this.
Why you standing on my mama car, bro? Well, I don't care if it's your mama car. I can stand well without you. You want me to get down right now? Roll on this What's up now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Happy birthday! Boy, I ain't even 7. I'm 3 years old. You just trying to hit me and hiss me off. So you supposed to be my new brother, huh? I really want to bite you right now, but they seem to love you. They told me to show you around, so I'm gonna show you some. I'm gonna show you this whooping. I'm gonna whoop you if you don't get out this house. Wow! Hey! What? Didn't I tell you don't run in the house? Oh, I'm not running. My ball was running. I'm just going to get it. Boy, I would slap the run out of you. Stop running. Making my way downtown Wall Street. Hey! You know what? I ain't even got time for you today. You ain't gonna spoil my joy. I'm out.
Somebody said, "Go get it, the rednecks." I think is what you're trying to say. But yeah, family. So let's check this out. Like I said, I just wanted to show you the actual video. Some of the facts, right? Just want to show you some of the facts that's associated with this whole thing about aliens or whatnot. We know the scriptures. I mean, as Israelites, we know that there's things in the scriptures that talk about, things like they look like wheels, basically flying saucers, wheels inside of wheels, that sort of thing. I know I'm paraphrasing, but so we know that when the Most High comes, and even when the Messiah comes, there are going to be things in the heavens, and even in scriptures. At this point in time, we are being told to look up. It says, look up, for your redemption draws nigh. So we're supposed to be looking up, looking for something that comes from the sky, right? And you just can't help but think, guardedly that, hey, maybe the enemies are trying to use that in order to set some sort of trap for the community. But we're supposed to be looking up, family, and we know that something's supposed to come back here to back here to this earth, right? To redeem his people, to rescue his people. And Christian Church calls it the rapture. We know that's a little bit different. And actually, you know what, family? I wasn't going to do this, but let me go ahead and pull it up. I'm going to pull up King James, just since we're talking about the rapture. I'm going to pull up this really quick. Let's do Matthew's chapter 13. This is just something that came up, family. We were talking about the folks being on rapture alert, right? And it's supposed to be September the 23rd. You got many organizations and stuff like that just jumping on the bandwagon for that. But let's take a look at because you remember like the wheat and the tares, the parable of the wheat and the tares in Matthew chapter 13. And basically it's like Matthew chapter 13 verse 24, and it reads something like this, family. It says, this is the King James version. It says, another parable put he forth unto them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a man which sowed good seed in his field. But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went his way. But when the blade was sprung up and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also. So the servants of the household came and said unto him, Sir, did thou sow good seed in thy field? From whence hath these tares? And then verse 28, he says, he said unto them, an enemy has done this. The servants said unto him, wilt thou then that we go and gather them up? But he said, nay, least while we gather up the tares, you root up also the wheat with them. Verse 30, let both grow together until the harvest. In the time of the harvest, I will say to the reapers, gather ye together first the tares, and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn. And it says another parable, and of course he goes to another parable, but the parable of the wheat and the tares is like just the first part of it. So as you can tell, family, what, when the Messiah comes back, and he'll actually give some explanation as to what it means. And actually, before I expound on this, let's go down to verse 37, where Hamashiach, the Messiah, expounds on this parable. And it says, he answered and said unto them, he that soweth the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world. The good seed are the children of the kingdom, but the tares are the children of the wicked one. Make sure my audio is good. Okay, yeah, it's still good. There we go. Yep, but the tares were, let's see, verse 38. No, verse 37. It says, he answered him and said, he that soweth the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world. The good seed, says, the good seed are the children of the kingdom, but the tares are the children of the wicked one. The enemy that sowed them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the world, and the reapers are the angels. As therefore the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, so shall it be in the end of this world. The Son of Man shall send forth his angels, and they shall gather out of his kingdom all the things that offend, and them which do iniquity, which is lawlessness. So be careful of people that's out there telling you that you can be lawless, around about this time. Now it's not the time. Not when we're supposed to be looking up for the Messiah to come back. You don't want to be. This is not the time, family. And then it says, verse 42, and it says, and shall cast them into a furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. So this is where it comes. You can talk about the rapture. This is one of those scriptures, those verses or a set of verses that's not talked about when you talk about the rapture. Because here, the Hamashiach or the Messiah tells us plainly that when he comes back, the first thing that he's going to do is send forth his angels to gather out of his kingdom all the things that offend him. And so you don't want to be the first ones to be gathered out of the kingdom, because why? Verse 42, and shall cast them into a furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. And again, this is one of those things that I know once I came out of the Christian church and learned this, this teaching here about the rapture and about what the Messiah does as soon as he comes back. As soon as he comes back, then you realize that no, you don't want to be that first group that's taken away, because they are taken and cast into a fiery furnace. All right, hallelujah. And then verse 42 says, then shall the righteous shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father. It says, who hath ears to hear, let him hear. Hallelujah. All right, so I know that was a deviation, family, but again, I just wanted to share that with you, and that is, as we got people thinking about November, talking about African American aliens coming back, and that's really playing into we as African Americans, whether you're in the church looking for the rapture, or Israelites looking for Hamashiach, the Messiah, coming back, or any other religion waiting for the return of the Redeemer, and we're looking up into the heavens, we're watching comets, we're watching these unusual things moving to our solar system. We want to make sure that we are not tricked, because I think we have seen a pattern of the enemy trying to use different things to try to get us to protest, to come out into the streets, and therefore, lay hands on us, and implement whatever wicked, devious plan that they have. So to that end, family, let's take a look at a little bit of truth, family. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play some videos for you, or a video for you, and in this video, let's take a look.
3, 2, 1, 0. 60 seconds.
All right, I saw this illumination that was moving with respect to the stars. We were smart enough to not say, Houston, there's a light out there.
Now, just to give you some context here, family. Now, the person that you see on the screen there at the bottom left is Buzz Aldrin. No, so he was a part of that Apollo landing. So what he's detailing or recounting is when the ship landed on the moon, and so he's sharing that not only did they just land on the moon, but he's saying that when he landed on the moon, they also saw some other things, and so that's what he's describing.
Following us. So technically, it becomes an unidentified flying object.
While Neil and Buzz were on the lunar surface, Neil switched to the medical channel and spoke directly with the chief medical officer, saying, they're here, they're parked on the side of the crater, they're watching us.
I spotted a lot of stuff that seemed to not belong on the moon.
As the 45th anniversary of the Apollo 11 mission to the moon dawns, there are many mysteries about man's first lunar landing that remain unsolved. What did the astronauts actually encounter there? And what made NASA stop going back to the moon after Apollo 17?
So are you not positing the idea that those vehicles contain, beings who are, maybe like us?
Yeah, I only go along with government images. And if you want to know about people kind of thing, there is the ship that picked up the Voyager capsule at Alameda the Naval Shipyard, and they have a picture there of I think it's the Apollo flight that Buzz and Neil were on. But anyway, there is one image there that shows black people getting off.
So people with dark skin getting off.
Not dark, black.
Black skin.
Really black. Yeah.
Were they tall?
Yes.
Very tall?
Yeah.
How tall? Do you know?
Well, they got out the doorway. I don't know how high that is, but to say safe 7 feet would be probably a conservative estimate.
Have you heard about Clark McClellan's statement about that?
No.
Oh, you haven't?
No.
All right. So just to recap, family. So there were 2 clips at the beginning. And so the first clip was from Buzz, and he's recounting that when he was on the Apollo landing ship that touched and landed on the moon, he stated that they saw something. They saw something, but they didn't radio it in on the main channel. They radioed it in on like this back channel to, I forgot who he was talking to, but they radioed it in on the back channel. So he's confirming what this gentleman is saying, because what this gentleman just said, he said that there were pictures that were taken, and he said, I believe it was during the trip that Buzz was on, right? So on the previous video, he's referring to that one, and he's saying that the photos of the black aliens were taken when Buzz was up there. So that's why I just want to make sure you know that these first two clips are related, that the second one is referring to the first one. So during, when you were watching that whole, you watch those vintage movie clips of the Apollo 13 landing, where it says the Eagle has landed, the Eagle has landed. That's why. And the Eagle has landed. What also happened during that trip is they saw black people, is what he's saying. When Apollo said Eagles landed, black people landed too. And they got out the ship. And then he also mentioned or suggested or made a comment that, well, they said, like, so what did they see that caused them not to come back after that trip? Because remember, family, like they went to the moon, and it's like after that trip, they didn't come back. So what, again, what caused them not to come back? Well, I mean, if you think about it, they go all the way up there and they see a bunch of black people on the moon. I'm just saying, family, you can believe, like you said, you can believe whatever you want to, but I'm just showing you how these things tie together. Because sometimes when you see these things on the internet, you see one clip at a time. You don't know, this clip goes with that clip, or both clips are talking about the same event, right? So I'm showing you that these two, the comment about black folks, them seeing black folks, is associated with the Apollo 13 moon landing. So think about that. And then if you, like they said, so, why didn't they go back? I'm going to read Obadiah to you. And I apologize, fam. I don't have these clips on my screen to be able to share with you. So I'm just going to read it to you. And this is Obadiah verse, of course, chapter 1 is only one chapter in Obadiah. And let's see here. I guess I'll start with verse 1, just reading down to verse 4. So here's Obadiah. Make sure my mic's good. Here we go. Yeah, Obadiah verse 1, or chapter 1, verse 1. It says, the vision of Obadiah. Thus says Yahuwah Elohim concerning Edom. Now, this is concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from Yahuwah, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise, you. Let us rise up against her in battle. Behold, I have made you small among the heathen. You are greatly despised. So now I do want to point this out, family, that Edom, Esau, the Idumeans, the Herodians, all the people that are associated with Esau, Edom, the Most High's prophetic prophecy for them is that he says, I have made thee small among the heathen. You are greatly despised. So whoever these people are will be greatly despised. Keep that in mind. It's kind of like a little nugget to throw out there. Verse 3, and it says, the pride of thine heart has deceived thee. Thou that dwellest in the cliffs of the rock. Now, if you've ever seen Petra, and Petra is one of the locations where Esau Edom lived over in the Middle East. If you ever seen Petra, Petra is a cave city built into the clefts of the rocks. It literally looks like a cave city built into the clefts of the rock. So this is just to show you that this Bible is real. What is spoken in this Bible these are facts. So in Petra, which, folks know that's the home place, the home base of Esau Edom, Petra / Mount Seir. And in Petra, even Petra today, if you are able to go over into Petra today, you will see caves built into the clefts of the rocks, or the sides of the rocks. It has a very eerie look to it, and it also has a red look to it, which is ominous because red is associated with Esau Edom. But let's get back to the scripture verse 3. This is Obadiah Obadiah chapter 1, verse 3, and it says, the pride of thine heart has deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, Petra, whose habitation is high, that said in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? In other words, he thinks he's beyond defeat, beyond defeatable, right? He just thinks has a mighty army behind his back. And here it says, verse 4, it says, thou that exalteth thyself as the eagle. Remember, we were just looking at Buzz Aldrin. We were just looking at that gentleman talking about those black aliens, right? That was associated with that Apollo 13 moon landing. What happened in that Apollo 13 moon landing? Remember, it says the eagle has landed. I probably should have clipped that. Now I remember. Now I think about it. I should have clipped that where it says the eagle has landed. The eagle has landed, and it's landing on the surface of the moon. And it says in verse 4 appears to be speaking about that. Because remember, family, says, thou that It says, though thou exalteth thyself as the eagle, which is the symbol of America. It says, and though thou set thy nest among the stars. Though thou set thy nest among the stars, remember that phrase, the eagle has landed. And it says, thence, or from there, will I bring thee down, says Yahuwah. Uh-oh. Let that sink in. So if we apply this to the Apollo 13 landing, right? They get up there, and according to the scripture, when the eagle, when they set their nest among the stars, the promise of the Most High is that from that point on, will I bring thee down. Who's going to bring them down? Not Russia, not China. It says, I, the Most High, will bring Esau, Edom down, saith Yahuwah. Hallelujah. Now, who speaketh for Yahuwah in the Old Testament? Because remember, in the Old Testament, it says nobody has seen the Most High, right? Nobody's seen him. You can't look upon him and live. So in the Old Testament, it was always the messengers, the malaks, the angels, right? And so here they're up on the moon. The Apollo lander lands, and they see this spaceship with these black folks that look just like the angels. When the elderly gentleman said, he's like, no, they're black. They're black. That's bronze, as if it was burned in a fire. That's bronze as if it was burned in a fire. So they have the same similitude, the same skin tone as the angels that are described in heaven. Described in the book. Hallelujah. So, and again, the angels are the ones that speak for the Most High. And so I just want to just show the symbolism, like once you put everything together, family, of like the Apollo 13 moon landing, like it ties into Obadiah. It ties into, this whole thing about the folks talking about these black aliens, they were the reason. It almost shows you why they were there, to almost signify that from that point on, from thence will Yahuwah bring them down. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. All right. So said all that to say, let's keep going. So now that we've gotten those two things out of the way, let's keep going.
I'm here to discuss the so-called flying saucers. The Air Force interest in this problem has been due to our feeling of an obligation to identify and analyze to the best of our ability anything in the air that may have the possibility of threat or menace to the United States. In pursuit of this obligation, since 1947, we have received and analyzed between 1,000 and 2,000 reports that have come to us from all kinds of sources. Of this great mass of reports, we have been able adequately to explain the great bulk of them, explain them to our own satisfaction.
Lieutenant Colonel Lawrence Stacker was formerly the chief spokesman for the Air Force on the matter, and Major Hector Quintanilla is now the chief of Project Lupo. Major Quintanilla, what are the objectives of Project Lupo?
The objectives of the program are twofold. They're the same as they have been since 1953 when the regulations were different. First of all, to try to determine if the UFO phenomena presents a threat to the security of the United States. And second, to determine if the UFO phenomena exhibits any technological advances that could be planned in the solution to develop.
What's the record so far?
Today, we have over 10,000 cases of Wright-Patterson Airfield School, of which 646 of these remain unidentified.
Mr. Burleson, I'll recognize you for 5 minutes of questions, please.
Okay, just to recap those two video clips. So those two video clips, I put those in there, family, so that you could see that there has been and still is a program on the books for the U.S. to track what they call UFOs or unidentified flying objects, and both of them said two different people, right? Both of them said that, we have all these reports that we're able to identify or explain away, a certain percentage of them, but there's also a certain percentage of them that they're not able to explain. So the next thing that you're going to hear is a Senate hearing. I believe this is a Senate or House hearing on the data, about the recent data of unidentified flying objects.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Elizondo, does any branch of the United States government or defense contractors possess technology?
Sir, there's documentation that I believe was submitted for the record that was approved for release by the U.S. Pentagon, by the Department of Defense Office of Pre-Publication Security Review, and it states one of the reasons why my predecessor program, OSAP, was trying to collect material of unknown origin.
Was it successfully collected?
It was not. What happened is that there was an aerospace contract company that requested to divest itself of the material that was collected in the 1950s. Unfortunately, that didn't actually occur.
So let's dive into that. That's the Bigelow Airspace, correct? So
yes, sir.
There was a journalist, Christopher Sharp, who said that there was a transfer between Lockheed Martin, Bigelow Aerospace, and the CIA allegedly blocked this. Can you describe that?
What I can say is that it was blocked. Why it was blocked, I can only surmise. I was part of some conversations later on with some of those contract personnel where they had told all of us that is accurate. What we required was a memo from the Secretary of the Air Force in order to make that complete, and that never occurred. And so when Secretary Mattis became Secretary of Defense, I decided it would be appropriate for me to try to receive a memo from him as SecDef, as Secretary of Defense, if we could not get a memo from the Secretary of the Air Force to transfer that material.
So if that material exists today, who's in possession?
Sir, I wouldn't be able to have that conversation in an open hearing. We'd probably have to have that.
Okay, my question to you then is, if we were in a secure setting, if we were in a SCIF, would you be able to provide or get access to something, whether it's visuals or material that we could put our hands on, or biologics that would convince me, that would show me that we have non-human origins?
Sir, that decision would not be mine. That would be to the gatekeeper still in the U.S. government.
And who would we, so if you were in our shoes, where would you go from here? How would you get that information? A lot of times we just don't know who to ask because we don't know where to go next. So if you were in our shoes, where would you go?
Well, I prefer to answer that question in a closed session. However, we established Aero for that very purpose. And unfortunately, under its previous leadership, it failed. So one would hope that they would have the authorities necessary to do that. Let's hope that this new iteration of leadership will be successful.
In the discussions, it's simply about material, or is there discussion about it was previously testified that there was biologics that were collected. Are you aware of any of that?
I am, sir, aware of the reporting that biologics have been recovered. Again, my focus was more nuts and bolts, looking at the physical aspects of these phenomenon, how they interacted around military equities and nuclear equities. So I'm certainly not a medical expert. I would not be able to probably provide you a whole lot of value in that simply because I don't have the expertise.
So, and just to give some clarity, family. So when they said they collected some biologics, basically they're saying alien bodies. So they're saying that he asked, he said, I understand that you guys have collected some alien bodies, and he was like, yes. Oh, hope I didn't lose my space here.
To emerge.
Has there been any, to your knowledge, any communication with a non-human life form?
So the term communication is a bit of a trick word because there's verbal communication like we're having now. The problem is you also have nonverbal communication. And so I would say definitively yes, but from a nonverbal meaning, when a Russian reconnaissance aircraft comes into U.S. airspace, we scramble two F-22s, and we are certainly communicating intent and capability. I think the same goes with this. We have these things that are being observed over controlled U.S. airspace. And they're not really doing a good job hiding themselves. They're making it pretty obvious they have the ability to even interfere with our nuclear equities and our nuclear readiness.
Is the United States government or in our contractors, are they pulling technology from this? Or they're reverse engineering this?
Sir, as I previously stated, and please forgive me, I am not authorized to discuss specifics about crash retrievals. I signed documentation with the U.S. government. What I can say was, after a very thorough review process by the Pentagon, what I wrote about, and that was my limit, unfortunately, that I was given.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I would.
Astronomers call.
So yeah, they're saying that they got weapons and stuff, and was able to use some technology that they caught from whoever they got it from. And so you wonder, because there's verses or scripture that talks about the heathen imagine a vain thing, where they think that they're going to be able to war against the Most High. Well, what would cause them to think that that they could be able to war against the Most High? Well, it's because they were able to get some of these. Sorry, I'm smacking. I'm actually eating in the background, but they were able to get some of this technology, family. Whether it be from angels or demons or whoever these entities are, and they have these super advanced weapons, right? And so when the Most High comes back, they're thinking that they're going to be able to stand toe to toe with him, right? And of course, the Most High is going to laugh at him when that happens.
Call it the Triple Atlas.
So now what I'm going to show you, family, is all right. So now we've kind of set the tone. I showed you that there is a history of the U.S. tracking some of these things, right? There's an official policy within the government to monitor and all this other stuff. There have been Senate hearings, House hearings about it. The turning over of the data, and of course, we have these mysterious things in the sky back then, and we have these mysterious things in the sky today. So, and I'm just going to give a recap just for the benefit of those that just joined. And we also took a look at the Buzz Aldrin, the Apollo 13 lander, and he gave his own personal testimony about how when they were landing on the moon, that they too saw what they would call UFOs, or some unknown objects that were also following them as they landed on the moon. And then also showed you that there's a gentleman that also gave his testimony that he saw a government photo that he believed was associated with the Buzz Aldrin moon lander, where it showed that there were aliens there and that the aliens were black folks. And she was like, dark skin? He was like, no, black. And that's burnished brass, as if burned in a fire. So if something's burned, it is black, right? So it is all this is lining up with scripture. And we also talked about how in the book of Obadiah, I believe it was verse 4, where it talked about how that, when Esau, Edom's descendants set their nest among the stars, of course the eagle, in America is associated with the eagle. It says, though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, it says, and when they set their nest among the stars, it says, from thence will I bring thee down, right? And of course, once the eagle landed on the moon, they saw all these black folks standing on the rim looking at them, almost as if giving them that confirmation, like, all right, from here on out, your time is up, Esau, Edom. Hallelujah. All right. So I want to close out with this, family. And this is talking about of course, that asteroid / comet or whatever it is that's headed in this direction, as far as the direction of the sun and Mars and other planets. And the thing to keep in mind here is that, of course, mainstream and, some of the official government organizations, spokesmen, they're trying to play this up as a comet. I'm telling you, family, they are trying hard to play this up as a comet. And they're what they're doing is that they're vilifying anyone that, or shaming any scientists that dare speak out that your numbers are off. certain things aren't adding up, right? Like for instance, the brightness of the object. Like this object was so bright, but it was so far away. It was like the only way that an object could be that bright, that far away, is if it was like 20 miles across. But then when they took the measurements, using those monitoring systems, they saw that it wasn't 20 miles across. It was only like 10 miles or less. So when they did the calculations, it's like there's no way that something that small could produce a light that bright. So of course they were speculating. It was like, well, the only way that something could produce a light that bright is if it was giving off light itself, or if it was shiny, right? Or if it has some sort of metal casing on it. So, but of course they were laughed at and ridiculed when they came up with that. And then the other thing too, Fame, was that, of course, there's been this back and forth about, does it have water? Because comets are supposed to be these big balls of ice, and when they ran this spectral, I know I'm calling this like a spectrometer, but when they ran this instrument to try to detect ice on there, or detect water, it came back as it did not detect water. But then so what did they do? They went off and tried to compute it a different way. And they say, oh, well, yeah, but when we do this secondary way, we're finding water. So that's still up for debate. And then the other thing was that they are not finding outgassing. So another thing with comets is that supposedly it has this core ice center, and as it gets close to the sun, it's supposed to heat up and it's supposed to shoot out these gases. These gases will then get blown back behind it and forms a tail. Well, one, it's not emitting gas. And two, it's not emitting a tail, not behind it, but in front of it. And so, like, again, it's just behaving very oddly, right? It's breaking all sorts of rules. And, of course, it's supposed to get here when? Right around that November time, when they're talking about these African-American aliens are supposed to come here over to the States. It's supposed to be in the neighborhood around, September 23rd, 24th, when the Christian church is talking about the rapture, right? Or when the feast days of the brothers and sisters of the Hebraic faith, the Israelite faith, right? So a lot of things are just kind of converging, here in this fall season. So, in any way, family, just kind of throwing that out there. But this video, this person, he's pointing out some of the odd things that's associated with this object that's supposed to be in the neighborhood in November, September timeframe.
Interstellar traveler, moving with such unusual speed and precision that it cannot be explained by natural means alone. At first, they thought it was just another rock, a fragment ejected from a distant system long ago. But then the anomalies began to accumulate. Its orbit was too precise. Its surface reflected light suspiciously. Its movements were too deliberate. Now, with satellite instruments capturing the clearest image yet of this enigmatic visitor, the uncomfortable truth is beginning to emerge. 3 atlases may not be a comet, nor an asteroid. It could be a machine built by hands, or by something far more ancient and advanced than us. When 3 atlases was first detected on July 1st by the NASA-funded Atlas project, it appeared to be nothing more than a faint dot against the black backdrop of space. But within days, astronomers realized something extraordinary was at play. Its speed was measured at over 213,000 kilometers per hour, faster than almost anything we've ever tracked. Even more alarming, it wasn't bound by the sun's gravity, as natural bodies usually are. Its orbit was hyperbolic, meaning it came from outside the solar system and, in theory, would re-emerge. This alone placed it among the rarest objects ever discovered, only the 3rd interstellar visitor confirmed by humanity after UFOs. But unlike them, its trajectory was disturbingly precise. It aligned itself to pass close to the orbits of Jupiter and Mars before hurtling around the Sun at perfect timing, ensuring that Earth would be on the opposite side at its closest approach. To some scientists, this was a coincidence. To others, it seemed like evasion. The first images captured online confirmed what many feared. The surface of 3 atlases was smooth, reflective, almost geometric, something that defied natural formations. Instead of spinning chaotically through space, it rotated with a steady rhythm, as if stabilized by some kind of internal mechanism. Natural objects don't behave this way. Machines do. When the telescope fixed its gaze, it expected to find irregularities typical of a rocky body covered in ice. But it revealed something that shattered all expectations. Its surface reflected light like polished metal, shining in a way impossible to explain by ice or dust alone. Small, yes, but its reflectivity made it visible, almost as if it were designed to stand out, not hide. Even stranger, he detected repetitive thermal signals on its surface, but these weren't chaotic emissions like those of a comet spewing gas and dust. They were pulses of heat released at precise intervals, as if following a pattern. Natural objects don't send messages. Yet here was an interstellar body emitting patterns that seemed intentional. The stabilization of rotation, the consistent orientation, the control of heat. All of this sounded more like technology than geology. Renowned Harvard astrophysicist Avalob, who had previously suggested that it might be artificial, singled out these details as the strongest evidence of extraterrestrial engineering. He warned, look for non-gravitational accelerations. And that's exactly what the web found. Small but clear course adjustments, changes too subtle to be caused by solar radiation or random outgassing. Something was guiding 3 atlases. As the data came in, another surprising detail emerged. Analysts, reviewing the infrared patterns, noticed that the pulses weren't random. First came prime numbers, then Fibonacci sequences, and then mathematical ratios close to pi. This isn't chance, this is communication. In the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, it's always been argued that mathematics is the universal language. And now, before us, was a message written not in radio waves but in heat, subtle but deliberate. Some believe the signal was intended for Earth, hoping we'd notice. Others feared it wasn't for us, but for someone beyond, some distant receiver we could never reach.
All right. Well, hopefully you could see their family. If you didn't catch all of it, you might have to watch it again, family. But basically, he's pointing out a bunch of, what I call oddities, attributes that don't really line up, or would cause you to think twice that, well, that doesn't sound like a comet, right? So, but yeah, family. Again, this just ties into all these things that seem to be converging in this fall season. So keep your wits about your family. Definitely keep prayed up. Don't get caught up in certain things. I'm looking at the comments in the comment in the chat here, and I would encourage folks to not get caught up in doctrine, at least not in this day and hour. When folks were in captivity, they weren't really arguing about doctrine, right? They were just trying to get out. You know what I mean? It's almost like if somebody's in a prison, if you're in a prison with a Muslim, a Buddhist, and a Christian and an Israelite, and you're all in prison or in some sort of a concentration camp behind enemy lines, the one thing you're not going to be doing is arguing about doctrine, right? You're going to be trying to get out, always. And to that end, family, focus on the bigger picture would be my recommendation there. Anyway, but all right, family. Well, definitely just wanted to bring that out to your family, that there was something going on in social media, especially on TikTok. It's kind of like seeped over into YouTube. But yeah, family, there's this thing about these African-American aliens coming out, are supposed to arrive sometime in November, and we also know that up to date that the, some of the powers that be, that they have tried very, very hard to try to get the African-American community to get out in these streets and protest and things like that, whether they're trying to mess around with DEI and affirmative action, or messing around with our history and taking stuff out of these museums, all kinds of stuff, right? Was it segregation, trying to bring segregation back, which, our community was like, oh yeah, bring it back, right? But trying to do all these things, family, to antagonize our community, to try to get us out in the streets. But to date, that has not happened. So now we have the African-American aliens. And like I said, family, don't get me wrong, family, there is some truth to it as far as like the testimony. And that's what I shared with you in some of these videos, that yes, indeed, there was a testimony about the aliens being black, very black, but that wasn't recent. That was an old video. And that was actually tied to the Apollo moon landing, right? The Apollo moon landing. And where both Buzz Aldrin, and also this other gentleman are confirming that, yes, there were black folks that were seen during that, whatever that was, right? And that it also ties into prophecy when you look at Obadiah verse 4, which is what I read before. So again, just keep your eyes open, keep your mind, keep your your mind open as well, family. Prayed up, connect to the Most High. Don't get caught up in it. And then the other thing I want to show you, family, is, let me see if I can share my screen here really quick before we hop off. Let's see if it'll let me do it. It might not. Oh, here we go. It sure will. All right. Just wanted to share with you.
All right. And we are now live. Peace to the family out there. You are in store for another classic episode. Y'all love whenever the God Rod Hayes comes on the channel. So peace, shout out to everybody in the chat. A lot of y'all waiting. Rod Hayes, man, welcome back to the show, my brother.
What's going on, Brother Rich? Hey, you just said the guy Rod Hayes. You remember a while ago I had took a hiatus and I was mad, and you was like, "Well, what you taking a hiatus for?" I said, "'Cause these motherfuckers think I'm a damn celebrity."
Right. Early in this year, right? Was that this year or last year?
No, that was like last year.
Last year, I remember that. Yeah.
Right, and I keep trying to I'm like, I'm not no celebrity, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I mentioned that because you reiterated that on the live you did about a week ago.
What I said?
You was like, so some of the people, they look like Rod, like a guy.
Oh yeah. I remember.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, and I had already had that conversation with you about me and misperceived as a celebrity, and ain't nothing I'm doing got nothing to do with entertainment.
Mm-hmm. Right. Indeed.
Right. So I just wanted to mention that because a lot of people probably didn't know where you was going with that. And I was like, man, he quoting me.
Yeah.
It's like I'm not here for that. Like, I don't see people as greater than or less than I am.
Indeed.
So I respect people for the work they put in, and hopefully that's what they respect me for. But all that celebrity stuff, I'm not with that celebrity worship bullshit. I'm not with it. But we can honor and respect each other within our lanes without, being offensive to other people. Like, there's a lot of people that I just won't listen to, but you don't hear me on here bashing me.
Right, yeah.
Because I know we all got to fight the fight from a different angle, and we have to fight it how we see it. And if everybody's seeing everything the same way, we wouldn't make no progress.
At all. Let me ask you this real quick, Rob, before we start the show, since you started like that, and we talked about the whole celebrity worship thing. What do you think about, because you and Billy both are into the whole Anunnaki thing, when he talks about this worship gene? What's your thoughts on this worship thing, gene? Because maybe people got the worship gene. Maybe that's why they just can't. They have to see you like a celebrity because they got that worship gene in them. You know what I'm saying?
It's also called the alpha gene.
The alpha?
Yeah. So you ever see a wolf pack, right?
Yeah.
Wolf pack got an alpha. What's the alpha job? He to be the leader, right?
Yeah.
Humans are pack animals. Gorillas is pack animals. All pack animals gotta have an animal that take the lead when the appropriate time comes for the situation. Right? All pack animals don't operate like that. Like the human, for instance, the most flashy, glamorous, glitzy person to us, that's who we follow. If you notice, most of the time I be on these labs, I be disheveled in a mofo.
You be chill. You mean chill mode? You be on chill mode.
But it's also ride the madman. Because you gotta remember, when I first came out, people calling me crazy. I was, bald head, clean shave. They're calling me crazy. So I said, okay, since I'm crazy, I might as well look the part. Maybe they'll listen to the message then.
Wow.
Right? So I became Rod the Madman, based off a character of Khalil Gibran called John the Madman.
Wow, that's deep.
So in the John the Madman story, all these priests was out there BSing the people. But John was the only one he had his own Bible. Then nobody else had a Bible but the priests.
Right.
So he reading what the Bible saying this to the priests, like them ninjas lame. Right? So he started telling the people, y'all stop following them frauds and them fakes. They lying to y'all, just like the clergy today.
Right.
They all lying. They know they lying because they taught in eschatology school, the ones who went, that the origin of the Bible and the origin of the stories came from Kemet. And ancient papyri became the Bible over time, but they was derived from different locations. Right? New Testament is not written in Greek. In Hebrew. It's written in Greek. So while we looking for Hebrew definitions to define a Greek writing, that's ass backwards. And that's why I keep thinking that Isis is Jesus and Jesus is a man with feminine qualities. A sissy. Right? So we rather believe in Jesus as a pale-faced, hippie-looking metrosexual surfing on a cloud than to accept the reality that the Dark Mother, the Black Madonna, Set, Isis, Mother Mary, Hail Mary, Mother of God. Well, what do that make her? Right? So they told the story, but they gave you an innuendo to mislead you from it. So in John the Madman, he telling them, stop following them frauds. And the people was like, John, crazy in the mud, John, crazy. But over time, everything John was saying was materializing like what you called and asked me yesterday. It's not that I'm prophetic, it's that they showing us everything. And I'm telling you that I don't see the same thing that everybody else do. Right. And if you see what I see, then this is anticipation. This is what you're going to see next.
Yo, Rod, speaking of prophetic, so I did a show with Griff, and a couple of people emailed me, and they was like, and even in the chat, I'm looking at the chat, we was talking about the whole Trump thing, and they're like, yo, that's exactly what Rod was talking about. Now I done did so many interviews, I done asked thousands of questions. I'm like, damn, what did Rod? Because you don't listen. Hold up, you done said so much stuff that came to fruition. And you be saying things, and I'll be like, Rod, get the F out of here. I'm like, Rod, I ain't going for that. And then 5 months later, it happened or something like that. So when they said this, I said, oh shit, what Rod said now? So what tell the people, what did you tell us was going to happen that happened for them to say the thing what went down in DC with the National Guard and all that? What exactly did you say on my program, my brother?
Before I tell you that, they just started shipping them into Chicago today.
No, I did not know. No.
I woke up to the receipt this morning. The lady was filming them rolling down the streets of Chicago. So that being said, what I had told you, Brother Rich, is that in the process of returning everything back to the tribes, they had to reverse engineer everything. DC had to first be reclaimed by the Republic from the Crown of England Corporation, the Crown Corporation. And once that happened, we knew it took place because Donald Trump renamed it the District of America. Remember that?
Yeah.
Okay, then once he renamed it as the District of America, now the next phase before they give it back to the tribes is they have to dismantle the structure. And in order for them to do that, they have to have security in place to prevent an outside force from instituting a hostile takeover during the changing of the guard, right? So the National Guard have to be rolled out before the transition to government completion is announced to the people. So you remember I told you on that one show, I was like, when you were like Virgo season, I was like, yeah, somewhere between September and October, we gonna see something big, but I don't know what it is. I say, but every sign is leading to something big being popping off around September, October. Now put a pin in that because I'm gonna come back to it. Now, the National Guard, the test run last year was in New York when they took over the subways, and I told everybody that's a test run for a national rollout. The purpose being is that everything has to be secured to keep us from being invaded by a foreign force while the transitional teams is reinstituting a new form of government right in front of everybody's face. What you think all them executive orders is for, right? This is the foundation for the fall of the cabal, which was actually the royal crown of England and the papacy of Rome. They was the ones that was holding the purse strings to the war machine in the Pentagon. And the Pentagon is operating under the control out of bankers from the Federal Reserve out of DC. So in order for us to take it all back, they have to deploy the National Guard. I did another video about a year and a half ago, and I was like, when they roll out the National Guard, tell y'all children to honor the curfew, not because we scared of them, but because they finna give it to us. They finna give it all back to us. And the easier it is to make the transition, then the smoother everything go, the faster we can get it back. But when we put up a fight, when somebody trying to do something to assist you, like a drowning person, you can't go and pull a drowning person out head on. You got to come up behind them, because if you don't, they gonna drown you while they drowning. It's the same philosophy. I've been walking everybody through the continuity of government over the last 5 years. And about 2 years ago, I started telling y'all we're at the beginning of the end of the continuity of government. Then earlier this year, I said we at the end of the end game now. And that's when I was able to say, okay, based on the movements of everything going on in the government, they about to roll the National Guard out before September, right? Because something big is going to happen between September and October. That's where the P in it. Now, the irony to that is that they have several massive UFO ships that's supposed to be here, one November, one October, and one is sitting right next to the moon with a bunch of smaller ships. So all this stuff, they already reported. Right? I'm not the reporter. I'm just reporting what the reporters reported. But what do it mean, right? And when we liberate Earth, we liberate galaxies. And the
Sister
one
Myra says that. Sister Myra says that, yeah.
Yeah, because there's a tyranny that came to Earth that didn't have nothing to do with us, that had to be purged. The side effect of that is everywhere that was affected before they got here get the same remedy that we institute once we overthrow the wickedness. This is your 6,000 year rule of the devil. He got 6,000 years to either take over and make us all slaves, or one of us gonna break out. Right?
And Rob, real quick, because I literally I was just about to say this. Somebody in the comments just said the question I was about to ask. Now, Rod, all right, so if this
the government ain't got nothing to do with it.
Rod, let me real quick.
Okay.
Let's bring it back. Let's make this logical. If this is a movie say this is a movie. We all talk about a game, right? If we analyze any movie, Rod, with a bad guy, the bad guy goes out with a bang. The bad guy's not giving anything back, Rod, like that. It's not no ending where he just hands it back. The bad guy goes out with a bang, Rod. That shit is a hell of a ending of a movie. What makes you think this movie called Planet Earth 2025 episode whatever is going to be any different? Why would the bad guy just give something back? This so-called bad guy.
There go the thing is the bad guy ain't gave nothing back. We took it back.
How?
By oral tradition of the ancient ways. In the oral tradition of the ancient ways, all we got to do is show who did it, how they did it, when they did it, where they did it, and why they did it. You know, so we went through who, what, when, where, why, and how. We ended up discovering who the perpetrator was. Putting it in the public domain allow all of the tribes to access the information. Whether they believe it or don't believe it is irrelevant to the underlying fact that one of us, Earthborn, spotted the anomalies and pointed them out. And most of us thought that the one who pointed them out was a madman. Right? But he ain't the only one pointing them out, but tying all of the other people pointing them out together is the defining difference. Blood in the right, Earthborn. We don't got the blood in the right. Our energy is galactic, intergalactic, but our physiology is Earthborn, right? So if your blood is tied to the liquids of the earth, your platinum group, your whole periodic table of elements, it's all in your blood. And by activating that energy, you get to see the shift. And then they gave us what's called signs to read to determine if all of this stuff is fantasy fiction or a well-placed plan passed off as a prophecy. I think it's a well-placed plan passed off as a prophecy when they tell you it's going to be earthquakes in diverse places, flooding, tornadoes, and hurricanes, and that it's going to be volcanoes erupting that haven't erupted in years. And all of that stuff has been going on in the last 60 days.
Indeed. No, you're right. You're right.
It's a convergence of signs and symbols, Brother Rich. And if you know how to read the symbolism, remember, which one of them was said that symbols is going to be their undoing. When we learn how to read signs and symbols, we going to be able to see everything they doing and expose it to the general public. That's what people like. Everybody got their role to play. And you got people like Brother Billy Carson. He's telling you that all this stuff is written about as the cycles in the ancient times and what they did to the genome. And all of this means something. But when you only looking at a one-dimensional perspective and you're not looking at it from a unified field theory, you will never put it together.
Indeed. Yeah. You know, and so all right, so I'm glad that you spoke on that because like I said, you said a lot of things was gonna happen and they end up happening, and I'm like, this dude Rod be on the money. So I'm like, I gotta, I forgot about that. I want to thank everybody for reminding me of that. I also want to talk to you, Rod, about this thing. A lot of people said that NASA, and some people said that it was a fake story. I'm not sure if it's real or fake, but they said that NASA said that they seen African American looking aliens coming off a cigar-shaped ship. Now, I know a lot of the speakers in the past talked about cigar-shaped ships. So, and I had a conversation with you last night, and you mentioned something to me about Black Adams, and I'm like, Rob, man, what the heck? I'm like, Rob, we got to talk about this, man. You talked about Inky and Black Adams. So talk to me about these ships, whether, I don't know if the story is real not at this point, but talk to me about these ships, these African-American looking aliens, and what exactly is Black Adams?
Okay, we're gonna get into all that real quick. So the origin story of the cylindrical ship that landed on an army base in Florida. The guy who was telling the story was being interviewed on some news channel overseas somewhere. And she was asking them to describe the aliens that was on the cigar-shaped craft. And he was describing it, and he said, the best way I can describe them is they look like African Americans, right? So I'm already knowing what he's talking about, because when he say African Americans, he is looking at it from the Europeanized story of the ancient ones.
Right.
Right. So the signature is the goatee, beard, and the afro. Right. For clarification, if you go to my Facebook page and you look at my background, it's gonna have one of those guys on there in artistic format. Right. Let me show you. So these are the sons of Inky. This is on my
Okay.
Yeah. So we used to call them the sons of Inky for a reason. Everything that you see,
They look like you, Rod, with the goatee and the afro, man. They look like you, bro.
but look, because they look like the indigenous Americans.
Indeed.
Right. Okay. Now, the cylindrical craft is not an Enlil craft. Enlil craft look a little different. Inky, he got penis envy, like he loved his phallus, right? So all of the phallic symbols, your obelisk and all of that, that's Inky worship. But you're not gonna never see it without it being by a Vesica Pisces, right? Which is the Yoni, because he don't believe in two phalluses occupying, or two kings ruling the same kingdom, right? So his ship is cylindrical, and it's a telltale sign. They even describe it in several Bible stories as being large cigar-shaped craft by description and measurement. Those are Inky's craft. Enlil use a different type of craft, right? So when you see the disc-shaped stuff, those are lesser scientists with different areas of control, right? The little fast-flying disc, any of those crafts can warp. They can warp. I mean, they can go from being over here, and in a moment's notice, they on the other side of the world, right? Because they draw two spaces together, and they jump energetically from this space to this space, which instantly move them either around the world or even to another planet somewhere else. By connecting the two dots, it's like folding space-time to make the two dots come together, and then it'll make a electrical arc. And the arc in the inside of it, it'll be like a wormhole, and it'll pop. They'll be in a whole nother location. It's called warping. And so the people that's on there, I refer to them as Black Adams, based on the movie Black Adam, which is the origin story of Shazam. The difference between the Europeanized Shazam and the Black Adam played by The Rock, if you pay attention, The Rock as Black Adam was created by using the energy of multiple Egyptian deities, whereas Shazam used mostly Greek deities and maybe a couple of Egyptian deities. And that was to show you a shift in the control of the the energies of the earth. But the Black Adams they vibrate so spiritually high, projectile weapons don't affect them. And if you don't know how to make the certain type of energy weapon that affects them, you can be shooting them all okay with your switches and they'll be standing there looking at you like you crazy because they in a different frequency and they just outside of the 3 dimension where that stuff can't affect them. And so I call them Black Adams. I can't figure out no other name to call them because that's the closest people that look like us other than Simeon Toko. But Simeon Toko wasn't from the warrior class. He was from the priest class, or else it would have been a whole different story they was telling. And even in the Simeon Toko story, he say, we coming. There's a lot of us. You asked for us, we gonna be here. He said, but I ain't gonna tell you when they coming. Now they know they coming. The only reason I can tell you that they know they coming is because they reported that they know they coming. They put it out in the public domain. That means it's inevitable and they can't stop it. They don't put nothing in the public that they want to conceal from the people because one of us is going to have enough ability to explain to people what they're hearing and seeing that they're going to actually click that this is actually taking place. Your so-called rapture. But the rapture is a story made up by a Southern Baptist evangelical fire and brimstone preacher. The rapture wasn't even part of biblical canon before the Bible came to America, right? So now that the story is in place, they got a similar story in the Anunnaki tablets where they said they was coming back for the Anunnaki that they left behind. So good riddance.
Who's the Anunnaki they left behind, Rod?
They never say. They left some scientists. In the Christian tradition, which comes out of the Rosicrucian order, they refer to as the Grail lines, the golden ones. And these was your historical king figures and emperors of ancient times, like your Genghis Khan or your Attila the Hun types, who actually had large kingdoms that they ruled as vassal warlords, because half of the contingent that stayed was warriors and the other half that stayed was scientists and artisans.
Right. So this Simeon Toko, because I've heard a lot about him, especially from Hank Rising's son. So he's from the bloodline of Enki then, Simeon Toko.
It's a very good chance. But see, Enki is the science line. So they got other brothers and sisters. We only ever talk about Enki, Enlil, and Inanna because they are the ones that's actually fighting for the heritable birthright to Nibiru. Inanna got first right to Earth and Nibiru in the Anunnaki pantheon, and Enlil got first right to Nibiru, and the only way he can take both is he had to conquer Inanna in war, who just so happened to be married to Enki. So Enki not buying it. You're not finna overthrow his wife, but then he got sons that also the sons of Enki. They don't play. Today, the human hybrids is your Dinka tribe, your Zulu tribe. Zulu means skywalkers, right? When they tell you they Zulu, they tell you they star walkers. They walked from the stars. But they didn't walk from the stars like you travel across land. When they say they walked from the stars, they folded space and time and came through the portal. Right? So it's the same thing with the Dogon. The Dogon come from a priest class. That's why they don't be in all of them wars going on with the tribes that surround them, because they not here for war. They here to maintain the frequency and vibration among humanity so that when the time comes, we can wake up from the slumber. They not supposed to do nothing else. Right. So then you got your, what they call your Bantu lines, your Bantu West African lines. Those are all different wives that Enki had children with up and down the Niger River going into the Congo, right? This is where they hid the gorilla for a reason. You know, they haven't even knew it was a gorilla on Earth for over 150 years yet. Right? They discovered a gorilla back in the late 1800s. So now they know it's a gorilla, but they don't know what it is. They just know it's a primate. But when you study the gorilla is the quintessential patriarchal led pack animal, right? So then the gorilla key becomes the earth key of the primate, and the earth key is called the key Chi in, the Lord key to earth, Enki. So then the Enki seat becomes the seat of, as they see it, you can look at it like Horus and Osiris. When Osiris is gone, right, Horus have to build himself into Osiris in order to take the seat. And the only person that can bless him to do it is his mother, or Set, Isis. So without the blessing of the mother, the son can't take the throne. And the only one that the mother is going to bless is the one that's the most like the father.
Hey Rob, with all this knowledge that you have of the Anunnaki and like you real sharp with it. Like if somebody
No, I'm not. No, hey, it's remember that chick me and Billy was talking about?
Who?
She was gonna do a show with him, and I was like, yeah, I like her. She tell the story so clear, and I'm like, man, she tell that better than me, and I was there.
I don't remember who you're talking about.
I forgot her name. I think her name like Christina something. But I be sharing her clips on my Facebook. So if you scroll my Facebook, you can't miss her. And it's another one called Illuminati, I think is her moniker and her page. And she be telling like they go into the books. They get only people that could tell it better is somebody that was there.
Do you anticipate having contact with these entities, whether it's Inky or whatever, being that you know what you know? Do you anticipate in this lifetime them contact? You know, we talk about contact, them contacting you, my brother. Are you anticipating that?
Am I allowed to take the fifth at that part?
Hey, brother, anything you got to do, brother. You know, you you can take the fifth, brother, if you want. You know, the people ain't gonna want it, but I understand.
Well, look, it's not gonna be no secret.
Yeah.
This is the reason why they're giving y'all disclosure now. Ain't none of this stuff gonna be no secret too much longer. Remember, this is the age of knowing. Everybody can guess what they want to guess and suppose what they want to suppose. They can say who they think right, who they think wrong. But one thing about it, at the close of the age, and we just closed out the Piscean age, and we just opened up the Aquarian age, the age of knowing. Therefore, all of the belief systems, when your head was under the water of the illusion, all them belief systems has been challenged, right? Many of those belief systems was just warped from your ancient spiritual tradition. So it's not going to be no secret who's who on the planet Earth. We've been fighting wars in racism, sexism, political opinions, philosophical opinions, religious doctrine and dogma. We've been fighting all these micro wars because we've been under a warring faction of leadership. In the warring faction of leadership, as long as you warring, they can have peace. Right? Because you don't know who's pulling the strings. But when you reverse engineer everything that's going down on Earth, and you end up in Switzerland, and you end up dealing with bankers that got so much money that they'll make billionaires envious. Right? Like some of these accounts, y'all have to see them to believe the amount of money. I know it's at least one account that can give everybody on Earth. Now it's 8.4 billion people on the planet, or 8.1 now, I think, after the scamdemic. But they get everybody $1 billion and won't even put a dent in what they got.
That's how much money they got.
That's how much money they got. It won't even, the interest for a year will cover that, and they will never affect their bottom dollar. This is what we call ancient money. Those are Pharaoh's coffers. Big Mama's bank. But you can't access Big Mama bank during the time of war. everybody think a warlock is an individual. That's not what a warlock is. A warlock is when Big Mama lock her bank. And this is why you got to go exhume everything to find out where all of the artifacts is, so you'll know where the deposits is. They think that those is tombs in Egypt with all that gold in it. Those are deposits, them safety deposit boxes. That's all there is. That's why it's all that gold in there. And because somebody put an artistic expression on it, it personalized and gave it a enormous value more than the raw material itself. It became a relic, an artifact.
Right. I want to ask you. Hold on, let me Google something. Do these entities that vibrate on a high vibration, whether it's Inky or whoever it may be, there's this science of seeing sound that we refer to in this realm called cymatics. So if I play a C major chord, Rod, it'll make a certain symbol if I play that. Those notes together. Now they say our body is a universe. It's one song, one verse, universe, and we are sound, and we are emitting a sound. So do these higher entities, do they have eyes like these cymatic machines where when they see us, they see vibrations, they see ripples as if you threw a rock in water and it rippled across the water? Is that what they're seeing when they see us? Does it look like a ripple of water that creates a certain vibration? Is that what they're seeing when they see us, my brother?
Visually, when they're looking at us from higher realms, they can perceptually perceive us in a three-dimensional format.
Well, they can see, okay.
Right. But they also will see what we would say the streamer, which is, where's your energy coming from? What source are you connected to spiritually? And your auric field colors is going to tell them so much about you before they even look at you in your three-dimensional form, because they understand the pauper god and they understand that the wolves in sheep's clothing and how they can be deceptive to the naked eye in the 3D, but you can't deceive them when they're coming from higher dimensions. And they vision of the light spectrum is so much broader than ours. We see less than 1%. I'm not sure what their percent is, but in the 3D, I'm sure they see at least 10% of the light spectrum, which means they see us in more patterns, like the psychedelic patterns would be more how they would perceive us, and the color combination is going to tell them your whole life history. Right? So when they look at you in a broad spectrum like that, and then they put all of the light colors together, they know everything you've been through. Because everything we go through, it leaves something in our frequency. And this is how they are able to read your palms, read your tarot, read your eyes, your face. And some people can dry read your energy alone and tell you stuff you've been through. But these beings are more developed than us. For one, they get to train so much longer than us. When we get up in age, 80, 90 years old, some of the seers in that age bracket is spot on, laser sharp. But remember, they got a cap on how long they'll be able to learn that before they forget it all and try to remember it again in the next life of 120 years. Where juxtapose that by somebody who have 1,000-year lifespan, like so-called Methuselah, or some of the gods that was pre-dynastic during what we call the Septepi, the forever time before the first rule of the pharaoh Nama. The forever time had people that we interpret them to have sat on the throne for 300,000 years. But we don't really know how to interpret the forever time, because that was the time before time was instituted. There was no clock system before to keep track of how old these people were. That we didn't have time. Time didn't exist. And that's why they call it the forever time, because the time itself is a micro construct of magnetism in the 3D field, right? It's the way to measure from one event to another as you move through empty space.
Yo, Rod, I remember you just made me think about something because you was talking about earlier. You was talking about Inky and his obsession with the phallus, his phallus, and you was talking about the pharaohs. I remember when the Hebrew Israelites were debating. I think it was Brother Polite or something like that, and they would show mad pictures, and they kept talking about how much Egypt was engaged in homosexuality. And they were showing mad images of the hieroglyphs. And they was like, look at this, look at this, look at this. And they would just say how much each ancient Kemet, because they was getting at everybody that's in the Kemet. And it was like, man, y'all niggas is crazy. Whoever's in the ancient Kemet. What's your thoughts on the Hebrews who show, and I ain't trying to start that with the Hebrews, but them talking about, or anybody talking about the hieroglyphs and all the homosexuality that they say you see represented in the hieroglyphs.
That's not homosexuality. That's phallus worship. Phallus worship. Look, phallus worship is alpha male energy. We see it in penitentiary all the time, right? But most people don't know what it's like to have that many men with high masculine traits in that jammed proximity. So you can't see in this open area where you got lesser men, you got males that have never become a man, right? So you can't see it. Most of the ones in prison would have been your leaders. Had they not been misled by the system, they would have been the ones that pound on their chest and take over. But then they start rounding them all up, putting them in the POW camps, talking about crime. When it wasn't no crime before they came, all of a sudden now we need prisons because we got crime. And we didn't even have police because we ain't need them. We didn't have a word for police. Everybody in the community is responsible for the community. Now the government is telling you, y'all not responsible for y'all community. We gonna take care of your community. Anything y'all do, we gonna stop you from doing it, like feeding breakfast program, and then we gonna do it because we your daddy, right? That's the war on the male, under the understanding that when the men realize that the women are the heirs to the earth, and that if we don't fight for the liberation of the divine feminine, then we are destined to lose a war against less than divine masculine. So we have to stand up and say, okay, what's going on? How do we fix it? Who's causing this problem so we can get them out of the mix, right? So all of this stuff is part of masculine energy in its proper outlet. Phallus worship, we hear us talk about it all the time in slang. It's a pissing contest, a dick swinging contest. That's all it is bravado. So when they showing these images of these pharaohs holding a super phallus, it's because he's telling you that he was the most potent of all of the pharaohs before him. Therefore, he got the biggest chance.
Okay.
Right. It had nothing to do with homosexuality. Unlike Rome, they show male to male penetration in their art. That's a different animal.
Wow.
I haven't seen that in none of the hieroglyphics I've ever seen. I've never seen male penetrate male in anything out of Kemet.
Indeed. What to just get back to this whole return of the Black Adams, let's talk a little bit about who are the pre-Adamites. For those who don't know, when there's literature that talks about the pre-Adamites, for those who don't know, who exactly are the pre-Adamites, Rod?
All of those species that they said came before Homo sapiens. The Adamite is called the Adama because they say they earthborn. So that means they was made on Earth, but they can't go nowhere else. But you got ancient people called pre-Adamites and antediluvians, being before the flood. They call them Tartarians is Tartarus. which is Antarctica, which was a Atlantean civilization. All of those are pre-Adamites, right? And even when we talk about the Adamite is only 8,400 years old, and they was genetically altered by the Anunnaki. They was genetically altered by the Anunnaki, which created something called the Great Debauchery. The Great Debauchery was what we call a genetic spill, because they put a whole bunch of genetically defective humans that they tampered with into the genome. But they told you the only remedy was for them to have original blood or Anunnaki blood. So during the 6,000 years, you have all these other beings from different star systems, royal families coming down here to clean it up, to aid the Earthborn in reclaiming the Earth from the ones who created the Adamite. The Adamite is actually what they call in the Sumerian tablets Lulu Amalu. And they used to refer to them as the Lulu. Those are our Lulu, our servant, our slave, our pets. And they called them their pets. And their job was service to the Anunnaki.
So the Tartarian Empire, if you was to give it a geographical location, you would say Antarctica, and where else?
Antarctica was the capital called Tartarus. When you read in the book of Enoch, he gives you a geographical description of the land of Tartarus. Tartaria literally means west of Rome, whereas Barbary means east of Rome. So when you're looking at west of Rome, you're looking at everything west of Italy as Tartaria. But that's not Tartarus proper. Tartarus proper is under the ice in Antarctica, where they thawed them people out that gave them the cryogenic sciences.
So, all right. So that was the capital, Antarctica. Now, what role does let's analyze two continents that are being talked about a lot now: America and Africa. During this pre-Adamite times, what's going on in America and what's going on in Africa at this time?
During this time, there was only certain settlements on the continent called Africa. And there are only certain settlements over here, but they are advanced over here. Then later on, the advancements from over here was taken to Africa by Tahuti and Inki. Inki settled what's called the Abzu, which is South Africa, when he gave rise to the Zulu. And Tahuti was sent to watch the Anunnaki that was in Sumer when he set up Kemet. The Anunnaki in Sumer was being led by Enlil's children, who primarily his primary son, Dinnersin, and his imposter son, named after Enki's son, as what was his name? Murdoch, right? Murdoch is actually Enki's son, and Marduk is actually Enlil's son. And they do that so that later on they can switch the birthrights and confuse the people that's supposed to recover the birthright as to which one of them it is. And if you give it to the wrong one, oh, well, you should have picked the right one. If you don't know that they do this, an example is in Genesis, when Adam's children was being named, and then Cain started naming his children the same names as Adam's children. It's the same thing. That's the Anunnaki blueprint for crushing a bloodline and usurping it and inserting your bloodline in its place.
Damn. Give me one more example of a name like they just usurped the name, and a lot of people think it's one thing, but they stole that name and they're using it. Give me one more example of an ancient that we.
Okay, so Ninursin, also known as Ninurtu, right? But he was called Ninurtu in order to replace Ninurgazeta. Ninurgazeta is the son of Enki, and Ninurtu is the son of Enlil. So these is the sons they pitting against each other to reclaim or claim the earth, right? And let me see, another one is Ra and Amun Ra. They're not the same, right? Ra was Marduk, and Amun Ra was Murdoch, and they was fighting to replace each other. The Enlil's son is trying to replace Enki's son, and Enki's son is mad about it.
Damn. I like this. Give me another example, because this shit is dope. Us figured, all right, so we got Ra, Amun Ra. We got the other names that you're talking about, Ninursin, and the other one. I got to go back and write them down. Give me one more, Rod. Give me one more.
Another one is when you look in Buddhism, you have two words that look like they're the exact same word in English. You got Buddha and Buddha, right? And the reason that is, one of them is supposed to be wisdom, and the other one is supposed to be enlightenment, right? You become the Buddha when you enlighten, and you need the Buddha to become enlightened. You need the wisdom. From two different people. Right. This is why you got so many different carvings of the Buddha. The original Buddha was Enki's son, black bald head, pie belly brother. But then they replaced him with Enlil's son, who they call an Aryan, and you could tell him because he's the stringy hair Buddha that put his hair up in the bun to imitate the priestesses. So there's so much of this stuff that goes on around the world. You can see it everywhere, but you don't always know what you're looking at.
Damn! Wow. Wow, that's some powerful stuff right there. Well, let me ask you, where is all of this going down on Earth? And you talked about Antarctica being the capital of Tartaria, I believe you said. Tartarus. What's the galactic capital where that's the spot everybody go to out of all the spots in the galaxy? What's the galactic capital, Rod?
Okay, now you got multiple galaxies. So, like Earth used to be a resort. The women on Earth used to be the place to go to see beauty in its raw and untampered form. But it was a vacation place. But you got places where you go to train for war, and you got places where you go to settle conflicts in war. Those different in different galaxies. So when you're talking about a capital, it's not really like that. It's like everybody got their own galaxy, and then they communicate with each other, and then they have jumper ships that go from galaxy to galaxy. Like Nibiru got portals on Nibiru that they can go to Sirius, they can go to Orion, they can go to Arcturus. Everybody that has, they can go to the Pleiades. Everybody that got a bloodline on Nibiru have a gateway to get back to their origin point, right? And they even have a gateway to Earth to Nibiru, but the Stargate was closed down when they shut down, put us in the light lock to finish this war, this 6,000-year conflict. And they keep playing out over and over and over and cycle and cycle and cycle.
What in ancient times, what was the most famous portal on Earth? Like, was there a spot that everybody knows you go here? Like, we got airports and we got some of the most famous airports, LAX or whatever. What was like the LAX of portals in ancient times? Arizona. Okay. Okay.
Arizona, where you see the Grand Canyon that used to be the capital of the unified Earth before they divided the Earth into factions.
You talking about Pangea?
Well, Pangea is a way to call it, but the Earth, even after the landmasses was separated, which was done on purpose, by the way. But even after that happened, they still had a capital in Arizona that was called the Great Atland as the capital. And the outland, which is Liberia, was called the land of Moot. It's the outland. It's like away from the capital. You have like, if Washington, D.C. is the capital and New York is the Empire State, it's the big city. And that would be like saying Arizona and the Atlantis or Atlant and Lemuria as New York as the big city.
Mm-hmm. Right. And what, since you talked about the landmass separating and you said that was done purposely, what technology at that time did they use to separate the land masses, Ron?
The technology of some of these civilizations is so far ahead of Earth's current technological known level, not the unknown, because they got some unknown stuff on Earth that would blow your mind. But the known technology of the Earth is like hundreds of thousands, if not millions of years ahead of us. Stuff that you can't even describe. Like they have frequencies where you could how you program a 3D printer?
Yeah.
You can program it to the micro level and it'll print microscopically all the way up to macroscopically, where it's a giant monument, and you'll be able to find intricate details at with a microscope level of magnification, and you'll be able to step away from it on the Earth and say, "Man, that's a massive structure," and it'll still have equivalent amounts of detail. That's all. It's like a computer program, but it's so advanced, it uses the frequency of the sound waves around it in order to carve out the structure. They got Angkor Wat was made with a similar technology.
Yeah, man. I don't hear a lot of people talking about Angkor Watts. Who dominated that landmass in ancient times? Angkor Watts.
That was the Ethiopia of the East. That was Enki's land. And he used to experiment with some of that technology while they were looking for gold at various points around the earth. He would experiment. He would get his science teams together and they would do these magnificent architectural designs using computer-like imaging to enhance them and all that kind of stuff. Those were the original people of India before Enlil brought his children. His children today is the ones they call an Aryans and Ayurvedic royal families. And the untouchables, those are Enki's children, because when Enlil pulled rank, wherever Enki children were, he put them at the bottom.
Damn, man, this thing between Enki and Enlil, this thing go deep, bro.
It's just the story of the God and the devil. It's the same story. All it is just the names is just different in modern times to confuse the ignorant as to what's really taking place by giving them religious zeal. The religious zeal is the side effect of being told that the God you're looking for is outside of you. Right. Because you need to recognize the inner God in order to be independent of the pseudo gods. Because the inner God is the only true God you're gonna ever know other than your mama.
Right. And speaking of inner gods, when we talk about the Black Adams, what can you tell me about? Let's talk a little bit about the Black Sun, and if we could talk a little bit about the return of what many people call the return of the Black Sun. What does that represent to us in our inner world, the return of the Black Sun, Rod?
So when they're talking about the Black Sun, it's also what Richard King called a black dot. Right? We talking about the guy seat in the back of the base of the skull, right? And when they talk about the return of the Black Sun, they also talking about the return of the Christ, not no Jesus. Because the Christ is the awakening of the sacred elixir that rests at the bottom of your spine, right? That's called the Christ liquid. The term Christ means to be anointed in reference to being smeared or smudged with an oil, right? That's what anointed means. And the oil that they used to use in the rituals was bought from Sobek priests by the other priesthoods in order to perform the ritual, because they would drain it from the alligator brain, right? So they called it alligator oil or crocodile oil in Kemet. Over here, we use alligator oil, but it's the same thing. And today we use olive oil as the substitute for the christening or the anointing of the child, right? Because it's the another. It looks almost the same as the alligator oil or the crocodile oil, right? So when they talk about the return of the black sun, they talking about the one who can see through the black sun. It's in Masonic symbolism, right? And it's referred to in the Masonic lodges as the Saturn sun. The Saturn sun is not really a sun. It's a pseudo sun, a false sun, a false light, right? Now, this is what, if you remember Bobby Hemming talking about spirit artificial, right? It's to make the ego outshine the true self.
Human artificial. He's talking about human artificial, right? Yeah. I
Yeah.
remember that. Damn, I remember. Yeah.
That's what he's talking about. The ones with the false light. The ones with the false light have no intrinsic biological connection to the earth or no spiritual connection to the earth, but they can look like us and they can mimic us, right? But they still not us.
What's one thing if you're telling people there's people that look like us, mimic us, they're not us because they have the false light? What's a dead giveaway when you see them? Will you be like, oh, that motherfucker got the false light? What's a dead giveaway?
It's not a dead giveaway because the mimicry, right? You know, the Mothman prophecies. The mimicry is so well of being a human that when you walk past them, you can't tell in the 3D. There's no, but you can tell when you get to a higher spiritual level, it'll come to you as a subtle knowing, like something ain't right about this right here. But I can't quite figure out what it is. Until you get a little higher spiritually, then you be like, that's one of them demon niggas. But other than that, they the ones that always smiling like they happy-go-lucky, and then they always trying to backbite you and undercut you when you ain't around. You know, but that's the most telling sign of who they are. They catch a group of peaceful people congregating, having dinner, and laughing and joking. They can't stand it. It irritates their frequency, so they got to start some shit. They got to put two people together that had no beef at first. They just naturally, how they react to us being in that positive vibratory frequency. And if you see us line dancing, all you got to do is look at the person that got an attitude and how well everybody line dancing. They sitting over there by themselves, mad as hell, touting and shit, looking for some shit to start because they can't stand this positive vibration of the line dance. The line dance will pull a mask off if you know what you're looking for.
Yes, there's a lot of people I know that just absolutely can't stand positive vibrations, and they're always looking to argue and fight. So I know there's a lot of people on the internet. We see that all the time on the internet. So yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, my brother. I know exactly what you're talking about. Wow. This is some good stuff here. Shout out to everybody. I want to take a couple of questions from y'all as well in the chat. But man, this is some good stuff here. Rod, and a couple more questions before I take questions from the people. You know, we used to hear about the presidents, you know, because we started out talking about Trump and him sending out the National Guard. We would hear when we first came into consciousness about Eisenhower meeting with the aliens and all of that right now. Who would you say, is that true, number one? And number two, if they do meet up with the presidents, who, and you talking about the return of the Black Adams, who exactly is Trump meeting up with in the extraterrestrial space right now?
Trump is not meeting directly with the extraterrestrials. He met with him before he got inaugurated in 2017 when he won 2016, 2017. Anyway, he met with him before then, and they told him the speech to give to the United Nations. Right? But he met with him in Raven Rock, Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
Raven Rock, Colorado is a hot spot. That's where all the chiefs that you don't see that's been working for our liberation behind the scenes, that's where they at. Talking to generals in the military who discovered the fraud of the corporate system and swore to defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and found out there were some domestic enemies with foreign interests on the land operating as our government. They all in Raven Rock, Colorado is the headquarters right now of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
That's because of the continuity of government.
Mm-hmm. 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 So was it true? All right. So they told Trump to give the speech to the UN. Who is there a name? Do you know who he met up with to give the speech?
I don't know who he met.
So
but I know it was a group of generals there. And I know that it was several different galactic council members that met with him as liaisons. And all this stuff it's difficult to explain to people when you've been indoctrinated with the school system we've been under, the political system we've been under, and the entertainment industry. They all got us where we more prone to perceive misdirection than actual what's taking place.
Indeed. So what was that Eisenhower report? Was that real, Rod? When they said Eisenhower?
Yeah, in 1957, Dwight D. Eisenhower met with them, and that's when they made the contract for the military-industrial complex, by the way. Because he made an agreement with aliens. And the agreement was for them to get a certain amount of humans for testing and for them to give a certain amount of technology in return. That's an actual treaty that's on file under his administration. I forgot which number it is. But he got an extraterrestrial treaty as one of his treaties he signed.
And what group? Was this the Greys he met up with?
It was the group of Greys, but I don't know which group it was. But he also met with some Venusians, with Valiant Thor and Titania. They came to the White House and stayed there, I think, for either 2 weeks or 2 months with the president.
Wow, this is some out there shit here, Rod. You talking about now? And now we getting real with now. I gotta ask you this, Rod. What do you think about Aleister Crowley's work?
Crowley was teaching something called left-hand path ritual magic. And Aleister Crowley's whole goal was to go into the secret societies and put everything they teach out in the public domain. He said that in the beginning when they was before they started calling him the beast. He got disgruntled with the church first. And then he found out about most of the preachers was part of the Masonic Lodge. So he became a Mason first, and then he went in and studied and mastered everything that they would allow him access to. And then he went on to the Rosicrucians and several other orders. And then he began to write all of the stuff that he had learned. And then he began to he made a trip to Egypt, right? And he contacted the spirit of Iwas. The irony of it is that Iwas is the same name that the movie Avatar gave to the world tree. And that's not a coincidence. The spirit of Iwas is another wide energy field that you can tap into. It's basically a whole bunch of information. And if you prepare yourself to receive the information, you can get anything from Iwas. It's just like tapping into the world tree. It'll give you everything that you're ready to receive will be given to you.
I haven't heard anybody talk about ayahuasca from since crawling. Nobody really talks about that, do they?
No. I think Rudolf Steiner might. Rudolf Steiner is a intellectual gorilla.
He's a big dog. He got some shit out there. I was talking about him a couple of months ago, man.
Yeah. I think Blavatsky might have mentioned ayahuasca and Manly P. Hall. Other than that, I don't know a lot of people that mention.
Yeah. Wow. What about have you ever studied Pascal Beverly Randolph? Because I know a lot of them got their information from him.
Yeah.
No.
Yep. And also it's a guy named Harold Percival.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And we all know Manly P. Hall. He was ridiculously intelligent. But it's so many that I can't even remember all of the ones to tell y'all to investigate, because there's so many names that when certain ones come to mind, they knock other names out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, Annie Besant, she was a student of Blavatsky. She was out cold. Then you got Paramahansa Yogananda. He was out cold. And he had a student named Dayamata. She was a good instructor in Kriya Yoga. Then you had you ever heard of Osho?
Yeah, heard of Osho. Yeah.
Do you know his story?
That's the dude they did the documentary about, right?
I don't know, but he came over here and he started teaching people how to bypass the religion and tap into their higher consciousness. And the CIA sent an operative to infiltrate. And then they tried to poison him with rice and gas on the doorknobs. And several people got sick. And his security rushed him out of there, rushed him back to India. And he ended up being in a legal battle with the lady that was supposed to be a student. And he was Rajneesh at the time.
Right.
But when he went back to India, after he got done dealing with the CIA tactics and he seen how wicked they was, he went to India and changed his name to Osho.
And
but he had originally came from over there.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I'm not sure if there is that family. Did they do a documentary on Osho? Is that the dude on Netflix? Let me know if that's the.
I know they did a 2020 special on him back in the 80s when all that stuff was fresh, because they was trying to say that he was a fraud. He was more legit than 99% of the preachers in America.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Wow. You ever heard of just speaking of people, we're bringing up names. All right, Neville Goddard had a teacher, Ethiopian, I think a Jewish rabbi teacher named what was his name, y'all? The black dude who taught Neville Goddard. Damn, why am I forgetting these names? What's this dude name? Abdullah. You ever heard of the dude Abdullah who taught him? Do you know about Neville Goddard?
I know who Neville Goddard is, but I don't know who his teacher was.
Yeah, Abdullah. This dude named Abdullah. They said he was real sharp. I mean, I'm sending you this video on him that I seen on YouTube. Yeah, curious about that dude right there. Shout out to so Rob, man. So Elijah was on point with a lot of this stuff then about the motherships and the UFOs and all that. What's your thoughts on what Elijah's take on the UFOs and the mothership and everything? You agree with his approach to it?
He was pretty spot on, because at the time that he said Master Muhammad was building the mother plane and they was ordering parts from all the auto manufacturers stuff, they was in the process of somebody was in the process of building the ship, and they built it. So he knew something, and he was ahead of his time, because when he started talking about the mother plane, the only person who had mentioned something about a craft was Noble Drew Ali before that.
And so what's your thoughts about Master Farad Muhammad? Because he was real mysterious as well. Like, Was he exactly who they said he was?
He was the perfect mirror to Claire Muhammad. He was the perfect mirror to Claire Muhammad. The name Ford comes from the word fjord, which means a waves, which means a pinch to cross the river, in reference to the river Styx. So you had to pay the boat, the guy in the boat, to take you across the river, right? Which is across the water.
Right.
To go across the water means to traverse the spirit. And once you traverse the spirit, then you can see clear. And once you see clear, you clairvoyant. That's clear vision. And Claire is Muhammad, and Muhammad is the praiseworthy. And we know that the mother of the Nation of Islam during the reign of Elijah Muhammad was Claire Muhammad, the Black Madonna of the day. But Fard Muhammad was the perfect mirror. And he's exactly the opposite of everything she is. In other words, the black woman is God and the white man is the devil. But if you don't see the devil for what he is, you'll never see God for who she is. A mirror.
All right, let's get to some questions from the chat, family. We almost at 4,000 in the chat. Shout out to everybody who's tuned in right now. Let's get to some questions. I know y'all got a lot to ask Rob. We're gonna start. Let's see. Let me scroll up a little bit. Well, shit. Yeah, we asking about all these. What? Okay. What do you think about Credo Mutwa? What's your thoughts on him? They want to know.
I love Credo. That was my guy. I studied everything I could study from Credo.
Dope. That's where David Icke got the reptilian thing from, though, right?
Yeah, the Chitawule. Well, that was the only way David Icke can put it into English, is to call him a reptilian. But Credo Mutar called him the Chitawule.
Meaning, so it was a little different from how Icke. So how would you explain what Credo was saying? Because David might have got, he's...
The Chitawule is like saying the people from the stars, more so than calling them reptilian. It just so happened that when Credo Mutwa described their appearance, David Icke, the closest thing he could match it to was the reptilian archons that he had already discovered in the in the Greek and Roman historical record.
Right. Yeah, somebody, I see y'all saying Bobby Hemmett talked about eyewash. Yeah, he does. He did. I gotta see that video again. I haven't seen that in a long time.
Yeah, I forgot Bobby Hemmett did talk about eyewash.
Yeah. So I'm glad you brought that up. Thanks for bringing that up. I'm gonna go back into the YouTube archives. Rob, YouTube took a lot of the classic videos off their site from Bobby and Delbert and Phil Valentine.
Facebook did too.
Damn. Yeah, a lot of it.
Facebook took a lot of stuff down.
Let's get to another question. Yo, you mess with somebody mentioned Jordan Maxwell. You mess with him, Rob? You mess with Jordan Maxwell? What you think about him?
Jordan Maxwell ain't regular. Jordan Maxwell, well, he was the undisputed truth in research.
Yeah. I used to have a lot of his stuff back in the day, yo. A lot of his stuff.
Yeah, I used to listen to him on the same channel our Bell used to come on. There used to be another channel. They used to always be trying to interview him.
Yeah. Well, what they want to know, what are your thoughts on the missing kids?
Anytime a kid come up missing, there's something wrong. Every time a kid come up missing, there's something wrong. Ain't no kid supposed to be coming up missing. Either somebody not doing their job as a protector, and somebody is overdoing their job as a predator. I'm never easy with children coming up missing and don't nobody know where they at.
I heard somebody earlier mention, I can't find the comment now, something going on in Virginia. There's a lot of children coming up missing in Virginia. You heard anything about that?
It's not just Virginia.
Mm.
See, they running out. They adrenochrome factories have been effectively shut down, and they've been trying to get as many kids as they can to try to survive on their last of those sips of presence here. And the babies coming up missing is not good. And then you still got a remnant from the Lazarus group that need other people organs because they too goddamn old and need to be put out their damn misery. Because they need somebody else's life force to survive.
Right. All right, let's keep this thing going. Let's get to another. I don't know what this is. They said, "What do you know about Rita Orsic?" What's that?
No, I've never heard that name.
Yeah. All right, let's keep this thing. Somebody said, "Does Osha have any books?" He got books, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could type Osho in on Amazon Books, and it's gonna come up with a bunch of books. Some of them gonna be under the name Raj Neese. It's the same guy.
Mm-hmm.
But he got some fire.
Somebody wants to know, what is your take on 3 Atlas and Chandra's 3 moons finding? I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Yeah, that's probably somebody who put out a video and I haven't seen it.
Yeah,
it sounds like it's like a podcast or something, or one of those researchers that be looking up statistics and stuff. I'm not familiar with them.
Next question. Has it ever been an ancient myth? This is interesting. An ancient myth involving a sister versus sister battle for supremacy. Interesting question.
There is. Matter of fact, it's some that's not even that ancient, but most of the ancient ones, the ancient stories of the women who were vying for the power to the throne, they was also vying for a particular mate, because in order for her to take the throne, she got the blood right, but she might not have the right mate, so that'll disqualify her. But I can't name 2 sisters that was at it, because when the patriarchal onslaught came and they began to villainize the sisters, even the ones that was bad was villainized as the ones that was good was villainized. So those stories is hard to recover post patriarchal onslaught.
Right. Damn, women been fighting over men a long time then, Rod.
But it's not all women, only certain ones. You got to remember, a lot of the stuff we see going on today, that stuff wasn't going on 10,000 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
In social activity and communication, most marriages was arranged. This new stuff where your marriage is not arranged is a disaster.
I don't know if I could have a motherfucker pick my mate for me, Rod. I don't know about living in them times, man.
You know why you would have accepted it, Rich?
Why?
Because first of all, your mama was going to pick the woman that she know beyond a shadow of a doubt gonna love you unconditionally like her. She not gonna pick no chick that just want to have a baby by you or just want your money. She ain't gonna never pick her ever.
Right.
So
when you said mama pick her, okay, but go ahead.
Yeah. Look, it's still going on today. It's just that you don't know your mama picked her because you ain't never seen your mama around or talked to her, and she probably ain't never seen your mama in person. But energetically, when you meet her, when your heart chakra accept her and your mama heart chakra pick that energy up, they can communicate subconsciously using you as a relay station. It still happens, but some of us ignore it. When the relationship go bad, that's your mama telling you to get out of there, bro. This finna go all the way south for you. Bail out while you can. And you might be head over heels for this chick, but you be looking at her like something ain't right. I'm out of here. I'm not gonna do this. But that's subconscious communication from your mother in order to protect your heart from this dastardly, trifling, feminine being.
Gotcha. They want C Diggs wants to know: is there a blood type that is considered royal amongst here on Earth?
All of them. Okay. We gotta remember, everybody on Earth is related. Even if we don't want to be related to them, we still related. It's just that they ain't our immediate family, but everybody on Earth is related, or you wouldn't be able to trace mitochondrial lines if we wasn't all related.
Right.
And Y chromosome lines for that. You tell you your daddy line and your father line based on your Y chromosome haplogroup.
Indeed.
And the royalty comes from everybody have a potential to be royalty, but everybody not going to actualize the potential because what it takes is a whole bunch of self-work that most of us don't want to go into the darkness of the night to correct those self-errors. It's hard work. And it's emotionally and psychically draining.
Right.
You can't never activate your world potential in your blood because you don't want to put that kind of work in. It's easier for you to get a job, be a slave for 40 years, retire, and then die. Because when you start activating what qualifies you as royalty in your blood, right? You have an easier life once you get activated, but you catch hell during the activation period.
Next question they asking is: do you believe souls are trapped in Saturn? I do. I travel there. That's a popular thing on the internet right now.
You cannot trap a soul. It's not possible. Everybody on Earth came here knowing what their book of life read before they incarnate. Whether they incarnated the first time or reincarnated for the 1,000th time, that you can't trap the soul. The only reason why we've been in the light lock, and that's not a soul trap, that is a science trap, to trap their science from affecting other people when they go to busting off atomic bombs like 90 going north, because we didn't done it before. Right? So remember, the devil got 6,000 years to rule. 10,000 years ago was the last of the great wars that almost annihilated all life on the planet.
Was you around during that time, Rod?
I pushed the button.
Come on, there you go with that shit. Yo, this one nigga, Rod. Yo, Rod, hold up. Come, Rod, man. See, this is what I'm talking about. You got to explain. Come on, Rod. Explain that to me, man. There you go again, Rod. You always doing this. Talk to me, man.
So it was the last Anunnaki Wars. And Enlil was winning. I ain't want him to win. And I had access to the bomb. So I pushed the button. And they went off.
Now, how do you know this was like, do you have flashbacks of this? Do you have
the flashbacks is horrible. The flashbacks and the memories is horrible. It's almost like a Vietnam vet waking up with cold sweats in the middle of the night. It's horrible. It's horrible.
I can see it in your eyes. I never seen you like this, Rod. I can see it in your eyes. I see it that. Damn, you mean that shit. You mean that. I see it in your eyes, man. Shit.
Yeah. They wanted to put us in a permanent loop. This when Enlil's son, Nennerson, opened the portal in Stumer. When he opened the portal, it was between the third and fourth dimension. And he blew an explosive and closed the portal, which caused the spiraling of the dimensions that they gradually fade into each other. Well, it pinched two of them together. And now you in this infinity loop. Where you come around, go up, come around, go up. You in the infinity loop now. That means that they can step outside the loop and you trapped. Your soul not trapped, but your incarnate ability to break free in the 3D is what's trapped. Your bloodline is trapped in the 3D by repeating the same cycles over and over again. And that's why you have to flip out of the infinity loop. That's what made the Maherta so important, because we've been trying to hit the Maherta at the right time,
for a while.
Wake us all up and flip out the loop by information, waking up enough minds to flip out of the loop, to get back on track. Now we on top of the 4th dimension, about to get ready to move into the 5th dimension. But the 3-dimensional world is still going to be here. It's just that our access to higher knowledge and higher spiritual abilities will once again be reactivated. Remember I told you couldn't nobody come in a mythical form.
Yeah.
But now you're going to be able to see people's mythical form in their physical presence in the 3D. It'll be clear as day. Oh, she's an ogre. She's a fairy. He's a gnome. Right? You'll be able to recognize them, but they're still going to look human. That's the Earth rule. On Earth, everybody, all higher evolved beings got to take on the form of the human. And this is what happened when a lot of those reptilians, we didn't know that killing them was going to make them turn into us over time. The more you kill them, the more like us they look.
It's like that?
Yeah. That's what the story, you see the Great Wall with Tom Cruise?
Yeah, yeah.
You remember them beasts, they kept killing them?
Okay.
And every time you kill one, they become more and more like a human, because it's the highest frequency in the energy field that matches their frequency coming from where they from. So they the top species where they from. We the top species here. So if they stay here and you keep killing them because they obviously recognize they don't belong here, and you keep killing them every time they come back, when they start taking on human form, they go through stages of what's called ichthyosis. So they got these big scales. That means they almost human. They next incarnation, kill him up again. He gonna come back next time. He's just gonna have ashy skin. And then he gonna look like one of us.
Damn. Since that time, Rod, you said you pushed a button. Was there another incarnation before you known as Rod Hayes that you've been down here, my brother?
Yeah. I used to read, okay, so my average lifespan was around 90 to 100 years since then. And I always came back in the Louisiana area or the Mississippi area. And I always remember being a toddler, going to my big mama house. When she was in Louisiana, we used to catch a flat raft, and the dude used to row us to her house. And then when you get to her house, it's like she got a piece of land in the middle of the swamp. But when we get in there, and this was my favorite memory, and I think that's why I carry so many lifetimes of remembering it, because it happened in multiple lifetimes. But when we go there, she say, what my baby want to eat? I got some fried chicken and cornbread squares. And I go into the kitchen, and it's always a bowl with some fried chicken and some cornbread covered up with a towel on the counter. I remember that multiple lifetimes. Then, like 2 lifetimes ago, I remember going to my big mom house. She wasn't in the swamp. I thought it was odd. She ain't in the swamp no more. She's living in New Orleans, in the city limit. That's odd for my big mom, right? But she still had the fried chicken and the cornbread squares on the countertop. That's for the visitors to come through, because they had no bag of chips. Well, no, let's go get some Doritos and some Suzy Q. Wasn't none of that. Right? And the real treat was called sweet bread, but it was really made like cake batter, but it was fried on top of the stove like a pancake, but it wasn't a pancake. Right? And that gave rise to common white bread being called sweet bread. But I remember a lot of that stuff. I remember in past lives walking through the nighttime streets of New Orleans with my mama holding my hand. And when I went back to New Orleans, you're talking about a flood of memories. I didn't know what I was going through. I thought I was going literally insane. Because at the time, I was like 17, 18 years old. And I'm like, what is this? Right? And it took me years to figure out what it was I was seeing.
You was having flashbacks of past
Yeah.
lives when you went there.
Yeah.
Damn, man. Rod. You be always, man, I be having a good time talking to you, man. Rod, you be saying some shit, boy. I'll be having a good time talking to you, man. Let's get to some more questions, Rod. Let's get to some more questions. Somebody said, will the black aliens help us?
They not gonna help us or hurt us. They not here for all of us. The ones on Earth is responsible to help the ones on Earth. The ones leaving Earth is responsible to get the fuck on. And the ones that's leaving, all I can say is arrivederci. It was nice having you here, and it's even nicer to see you leave. You all stayed your welcome. And now we want to go back to Earth life as Earth is supposed to be.
Let's get to this next question, Ron. What is the symbolic significance of the Trump and Putin meeting?
Oh, that was all cold. So it's a power play. The most two powerful nations on the planet, two of the three, actually. China, number 3. But the flying of the F-15, right? F-15 is code, flip 555. That means flip the change. So everybody was focused on the meeting, but wasn't nobody focused on the F-15 that flew over Putin's head. Because this is telling them to flip the change, which also coincides with the arrival of the National Guard in D.C. Right? Because now it's time to flip the change. It's all turned around now. 555 means it's all turned around. 5 is initiating the change. 55 is changing. 555 means it's done changed. And the F-15 means flip the 15, flip the 3 5s.
Okay. Let's get to some more questions. Somebody said, why Alaska? That's what they had to mean at. That's what they had to mean at in Alaska.
It's a black pyramid in Alaska. And it's Alaska was purchased from Russia by the United States. I think it was for $1 million. And because it was attached to the landmass over here. So Alaska, in some people's mind, is still part of Russia.
What's that black pyramid? You gotta explain that one. What is it?
It's an ancient black pyramid in Alaska. Do you remember when La Palma was about to blow, and then the Army Corps engineers kept back blasting holes to hold off the lava flows to keep it from blowing?
Yeah.
Right. And I was like, soon as they found out where the third portal at, because it was a 3 portal jump. It had a Archon ship. It was going in a portal, and every time it come out of a portal, it'd disappear, but it was a missing portal. They could only catch it at one of the 2, but when it go to the third one, they didn't know where it was at. Coming to find out, it was right outside of Mexico in the Pacific Ocean. So once they identified the third one, instead of back blowing the lava flow, they closed the one in Alaska at the Black Pyramid. They dropped a bomb in the one in the Pacific, and then they backfilled all that lava into the Stargate that was on La Palma. And all that lava is in the wormhole with the ship. So now they can't get out the ship in the wormhole, And now they can't get out of because all 3 stargates is closed. Right. So the Black Pyramid was very instrumental. They also got a Black Pyramid in Antarctica, by the way.
Yeah, I heard about that one.
They huge.
Right. Family, don't spam the chat. I usually just ban people. I'm gonna put you in. Just don't spam the chat, fam. Don't ask the same question over and over and over and over. You're clogging up the chat. Please don't do that, family. All right. Somebody says it. Well, no, there was another question I wanted to ask you that I seen. Okay, here it goes. What do you think about the interstellar object discovered in our solar system? I heard Billy talk about it. I don't know what's going on. Have you heard about that, Rod?
There's a couple of them. It's more than one. One of them they are actually classifying as a newly discovered planet. Then they got several different. Some of them is supposed to be asteroids or meteors that's headed this way, but they still don't.
Hold up, Rod. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. That's what everybody's talking about. Hold on. Let me put this. That's why they keep asking you about this 3-eye atlas thing. Okay, hold on. Let me share the screen. I'm gonna let you see the article right now, Rod. That's why people keep saying that. Hold up, Rod. Hold up. Give me 1 second, y'all. I gotta get this together. All right. A mysterious comet is shooting through our solar system. Why are scientists so excited about 3-eye atlas? An object that came from outside our solar system is hurling towards the sun at 38 miles a second. First detected in July, this visitor from outer space, known as 3-eye atlas, is only the 3rd known interstellar object to have been discovered after Mamua in 2017 and Borisov in 2019. Excitement has been growing since the Hubble Space Telescope captured an image of the interstellar interloper, offering scientists a rare opportunity to analyze. So they say we don't know exactly where it came from, but it definitely came from outside our solar system. The name, let me see, blah blah blah. All right, then I don't pretty much nothing else, but okay. All right. Any they said it looks like a fuzzy. They said it looks like a fuzzy snowball. Huh?
Did you catch that speed?
What was it? 30. Where's that? 38 miles a second. They said.
That's 1 second. How many seconds in a minute?
60.
Okay, so that's 180 miles a minute. Do you realize how fast this thing is moving?
Shit.
There's never been an asteroid or a comet recorded at this speed before.
So what that mean, bro? What you think?
That's not an asteroid. It's a ship.
It's a ship. Woo-hoo. Yeah, thanks for telling me that, family. I had no idea. Okay, that's what y'all was talking about. All right. Thank you, family. That's a shit, man.
Yeah, asteroids, the average asteroid, you can measure it in miles per hour, not miles per second.
Second. Right. Okay. 38 miles a second, they said. So what ship? What Nibiru ship? What ship would you call that? Then?
No, that's not a mothership. That's a jumper ship. The jumper ships lead out ahead of the mothership. The mothership don't land until they get the report back. Okay, so they come in waves. Remember the drones?
Yeah.
Those are Dyson Sphere satellites.
Okay.
Right? Okay, they come first. They survey. Right? Before the main mothership that's coming come, the next wave they send after the orbs is the scout ships. Right? The scout ships don't necessarily have to land. They just have to survey everything going on and see how they reacted to. Then the next thing they come with the jumper ships would bring its actual personnel. Look, that's 2,280 miles per minute.
Whew.
That's called warp speed. That's called warp speed. That's not regular travel speed.
Oh man, y'all gonna have me look this up tonight, y'all. This okay. This sounding interesting, y'all.
Yeah. You seen it on Star Trek when they say everybody get ready to go into warp mode. Systems activated, and all of a sudden they zoom in.
Yeah.
That's a ship. That's not no. That's not no meteor. But you know, they always classify ships as meteors and stuff like that as a form of concealment to the panic of the public.
Mm-hmm.
We don't give no damn about no ships coming here. Let them come on. Okay, what we gonna do?
Yeah. Somebody said, remember 2020, Trump kept saying military warp speed. Yeah.
Ain't none of that stuff a coincidence. Everything they saying, everything they telling you, they giving you codes. We don't speak their language and they don't speak ours. So when they be saying stuff, we panic because we think they mean something different. Like when they've been talking about the carbon footprint, they talking about everywhere one of us standing. That's the carbon footprint where we standing. Ain't no carbon footprint in space. The whole space is carbon. So the carbon footprint got to be where the carbon being is walking, right? And then because of the carbon footprint, they have to worry about global warming. Why are they worried about global warming when they know that the sun cycle is coming in and you can't stop it? Because it's one of the 4 cycles of the 26,000 year elliptical, the movement of the Earth every 26,000 years, right? So they know that the sun cycle coming. When they worried about global warming, they're not worried about the globe heating up intrinsically. They're worrying about the spiritual heat up of the awakening of the ones with the carbon that can assimilate the highest frequency of waves. And the carbon has got to be settled on the neural network, and they call neural melanin. They be telling us the whole time, we don't know what they're talking about. The greenhouse effect. What's the greenhouse effect? Right? They say the greenhouse effect is the heat inside of the atmosphere is getting higher than they can contain. It's the sun cycle. It's not a greenhouse effect. We ain't no greenhouse. We on Earth. Right? So they be talking about all kind of stuff in codes. We see headlines in the newspaper. We don't see the same headlines that the elites see. The elites might be reading the acronym while you reading the word. Right? And then the picture gonna tell them how to interpret the acronym. The no picture is gonna tell them a different way to interpret it. Right? You got a headline with no photos. Oh, that's a whole different story now. And now you got to read inside of the story and know which way to count the words in order to find the code that's in. That's all CIA, MI5, Mossad, MI6, KGB stuff. And they all got the same code system. They just use it different at different times for different purposes. But all of the espionage codes is the same. Because all the spy network is all connected. And rooted in Switzerland. Tied to the bootleg.
Somebody said, get this, Brother Rich and Rod. The 3i Atlas mothership is targeted to be behind the sun in September or November. Wow.
Remember I told you between September and October?
This getting good, y'all. See, y'all talk. I had no idea about this, y'all. Oh man, okay.
There's so much going on. I can't even remember everything to tell y'all right now. It's so much because it's like I see it, and then it might not come back to mind to an hour after the show, Rich. And I'm like, oh man, I should have told Rich this.
Yeah. Damn, yeah, because they said it was going toward the sun. Wow.
Look, if you go on my page right now, some lady took a picture on her telescope of a ship with some baby ships sitting right next to the moon. And she ain't the only one. She's just the only one I posted. Let's see if I can find it.
Oh.
Can you read that?
The alien mothership and 2 smaller UFOs reported near the moon is stunning. Wow. It's stunning sky sighting. Wow. Damn. Damn, there's that much activity in the sky now, y'all?
Look, it been that much activity. That's not new. We just now getting the opportunity to come with photographs of it because most of us wasn't using that technology until the last couple of years. Now you got what they call citizen astronomers, civilian astronomers with telescopes that been going to observatories for years and know all that stuff, how to read that stuff. But now their hobby has become a news channel for us.
Rod, I remember, let me ask you an opinion about this because we mentioned Elijah, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad earlier. And I remember Dr. Wesley Muhammad was on the show and he talked about I think when Neil Armstrong went to the moon or somebody, I think it was Neil, they heard the Muslim prayer being on the moon. Do you know anything about this? The Muslim prayer on the moon?
Oh, well, let's just say it was Neil Armstrong who landed on the moon in 1960s, but 67.
Yeah.
If he heard the Muslim prayer, it was in the adjacent movie studio right next to him. So it's a total possibility they could have been filming. What's that Charleston Heston movie?
You said a movie studio.
That's where it was at. Come on, man. Look at that contraption they say they flew to the moon.
Mm-hmm.
It got a flimsy door, a cloth door. Come on, in outer space. A cloth door. It got wires on it that you can actually see now. But back then, our minds were so fascinated about the prospect of going to the moon that we couldn't even see the wires that they was using.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and the nigga that was filming was on the moon before Neil Armstrong.
Right.
Or otherwise, who was filming? Where was he at?
Yeah.
And ain't no stars in the background. They should be bright as hell if you on the moon. Well, all that stuff is relevant.
Well, let me ask you this now. All right, you're not buying the moon thing. Let me ask you this about the ships in the sun. What happens, Rod? Because some people say the sun is a portal. The sun is all types of different names. People say, if a ship goes right through the sun, where's it at, Rod? If you had a ship, me and you in a ship, and we fly right through that mother effing sun, where are we once we go through that sun, Rod?
You know, I don't think that it's that kind of portal.
Uh-huh.
But the Anunnaki's history say that they do know how to burrow into the center of the sun and make it habitable on the inside, and they know how to enter and exit, which is ironic because this lady Gina Coben was videoing the sun with her telescope up close about a week ago, and you seen a series of ships coming out of the sun.
Uh-huh.
And they was parking. They wasn't just going nowhere. They was just lining up.
Right. Somebody said, should we still be sun gazing, Rod?
That's a personal preference. You should still be doing anything you think gonna help you advance in this life. If you don't think it's gonna help you none, don't do it. If you think you can benefit from it, do it. You don't need nobody outside you to tell you that.
Right.
You just got to remember to tell yourself, I'm going to benefit from this, so that's what I'm doing. I'm not going to benefit from this, so that's not what I'm doing.
And I was out in that sun for about an hour today, man. I'm proud because I usually don't get to go out there that much, but I got about a whole hour out there today, man.
I went for a walk when we was having a Schumann resonance blast and a solar flare at the same time. I think it was last Tuesday. Man, I got down to the lake. Man, I was getting so much energy, I couldn't even stand up.
Yeah.
I was catching it. Man, I was catching it.
Yeah. Let's keep this. This is a real good show, y'all. Oh man, thanks for telling me about that. That 3-eye atlas thing, family. Yeah, I gotta get me a telescope and a microscope. I gotta get both of those. Thanks for I'm a
keep talking about a whole new world opening up. Either one. But if you get both of them, you're going to, because as above, so below, you're going to be surprised how much microscopic activity mimic stellar activity.
Right. All right. Let's wow, this is a good show here. Let me see. Let me see if I got a super chat question here. All right. How much strength is my positive projections potential to help stop violence against innocence? That seems to be all I could do for now through my mind's projections, collective projections power as well.
Well, every time you can get two people to agree with you on that, it increases it by 100-fold. So, your positive projections is always a benevolent addition to what we experience. So, if that's all you got to offer, that's all you got to offer. That might be your job. Your spiritual assignment is to project your positive potentials to stop the violence against the innocents. There's a whole lot of us on that same frequency, by the way. So you just expanding the bandwidth.
Indeed. All right, let's get to this next super chat. What are the shadowy figures and objects seen in our peripheral, and how should we deal with it?
Ask them who they are, and what they want, and why they're there. And anybody that refuses to answer you is not allowed to stay. Anybody that's not there for your best good, for your highest good, not allowed to stay. And you'll be surprised the ones that stay will be able to communicate with you, and you can ask them who they are. Most of the time, it's just your ancestors. But some of your ancestors was a piece of shit too, because when I went through it, I found some man that was a piece of shit. So all our ancestors wasn't good people.
What somebody reminded me in the chat, Rod, what is the best way to donate to you, to send love and support for all the work and effort that you do? What's the best way right now? Because I know it changed. What's the best way right now?
Yeah. Well, my Cash App is back operational. My Cash App is $ capital SIK capital APE. My PayPal is at SIK801, which is the same as my Cash App. It's at 01 on PayPal. That's how you can donate.
Let me hold on. Let me just post the Cash App real quick. Hold up. Give me 1 second, yo. Yeah, if anybody who wants to show Rod some support, we got about 4,000 of y'all in here. You know, we should do we should make a statement tonight, man. 4,000 of us send Rod $2 each. Imagine that. Imagine we move like that, a unit like that. Imagine if 4,000 of us show the brother love. And I love showing people love who contribute to my growth and development. It ain't nothing to me. We are emanations of prime source. So damn, that'd be dope if we move like that, family. Damn, that'd be fire. But let's get to the but that's how you can support the brother. Cash App $ SIK8 SIK8PE. He been dropping this for about 2 hours now, man. So shout out to the brother Rod Hayes for doing that, man. I appreciate it. Let's keep this thing going. We're gonna do just a couple more, then we're gonna get out here. I don't want to keep the brother too long. Somebody said I had a super chat question. Let me see, because I don't want to miss. Okay, I see you. I think this is you. Well, then, I missed 2. Damn, I missed a couple of super chats. All right. Well, I'm gonna get to these super chats that are here, and then I gotta get off the show, y'all. Has Rod or anybody seen the leaked Hollow Earth video with the black statue?
I haven't personally seen it, but I've seen photographs of the Hollow Earth. But I didn't see the black statue.
Okay. Dr. Bliss told his story about the encounter with aliens. He said they were brothers. Okay.
Yeah, he met him at a ufology convention. He said it was two of them.
Indeed. All right. As a priest and messenger, can you speak to the importance of marrying the spiritual knowledge with actual scholarship?
That's like a contradiction. The hard part is the scholarship is linear logic. The spiritual knowledge or spiritual wisdom is abstract. So you have to explain an art piece to somebody, a Picasso painting, a Tupac song, a Sam Cooke song. You have to reinterpret the song where somebody who doesn't have the spiritual insight can follow the scholastic method to interpret the artistic expression. That's the closest way I could tell you about marrying it. It's like translating a foreign language into the common language.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. All right, let's keep this thing going. We're gonna do two more, then we're gonna get out of here. Two more, then we're gonna get out of here. Thoughts on the Northern Appalachian anomaly. Respect, Brother Rich and Brother Rod.
I'm not familiar with what just took place in the Appalachians. I think he's making reference to a current event, but I haven't. I don't remember exactly what I ran across about it, so it didn't really catch my attention.
Indeed. Yeah, a lot of y'all showing that's dope. I see people in the chat. A lot of people showing Cash App love. Let's make this a movement. You know what I'm saying? People come on my channel. Listen, man, we support the gods and goddesses that come on this channel. I take care of the gods and goddesses. That's part of my job. Rod is humble. He ain't gonna mention money like that. I'ma mention it though. I'm a money god. So I'm wealth. So I'm gonna mention it. Support my brother. Thanks for reminding me, y'all. Yeah, that's the Cash App $SICK8. Somebody said they gave $20. Yeah, show my brother love. I like to hear that. Yeah, I like to hear that. Let's do shout to in the chat. Let's do one more question. Then we're gonna get out of here. Give me a good one, y'all. Come on, give me a good one, y'all. Oh, okay. You know, I actually thought this, y'all. I thought this earlier. I'm glad you asked this. Is AWA some way connected to ayahuasca? I thought that earlier, but it just, it slipped my mind. I'm glad you asked that.
I don't know if they directly related, but I know we're on the ayahuasca retreat that you can access ayahuasca in the ayahuasca ceremony. She ain't the only one you can access though. But you can access ayahuasca through the ayahuasca ceremony.
Indeed. Yeah, thanks for asking that. When we was talking about it, I had thought that and it slipped my mind. Thanks for asking that. I really appreciate that. Let's do one more. And then we're gonna get out of here. Somebody said I need a good drink right now. I need a good drink right now. I hear you. Somebody said, does ICE and deportation serve the people of the land as a spiritual sign?
Yeah, ICE on the land is ISIS on the land. And the deportations is the cleanup of, it's really the control measure of the borders through the transitional phase. ISIS on the land, clearing the land of the ones who belong somewhere else at the close of the age. Spiritually speaking, that's what it looked like to me.
All right. Listen, man, we're gonna get out of here now, man. I done had Rod on here for 2 hours, man. Rod.
Go for it. Follow me.